And then supposedly hit the body. I see the disinfectant supposedly hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. Supposedly hit the body. I see the disinfectant supposedly hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. We're leading the way in so many different ways, supposing about the light inside the body in some other ways. As we continue to develop potential therapies, I see the disinfectant. I see the disinfectant. I think people are going to know. You're going to know. I'm going to know. I think people are going to know. You're going to know. I'm going to know. I think people are going to know. I see the disinfectant. This whole curse, this whole plague. And is there a way we can do something like that? Injection. So we hit the body. I see the disinfectant. So we hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. So we hit the body. I see the disinfectant. So we hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. As we continue our battle against the virus, the data in fact suggests that we're making great progress with tremendous ultraviolet and the invisible enemy. And then as it's supposing with the light inside the body. And then I see the disinfectant ultraviolet with its hand, and it's working very well. We're a big deal. We will end this plague. And then I see the disinfectant. I see the disinfectant. That's really powerful. We hit the body. I see the disinfectant. So we hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. So we hit the body. I see the disinfectant. So we hit the body with tremendous ultraviolet. What's fucked with?
This is Truth Frequency Radio, the wicked one, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, I think the audio's done. Again, it's been weeks where it's been unclear and the ads sound really weird on our end because there's no music to them with those Donald Trump and other voice mixes. And I do look forward to the day that it's fixed because it'll make doing the show a lot easier and plus it'll sound a lot better. So here's to that day that hopefully will come soon. And anyhow, we're going to keep doing the show because the show must go on regardless of how good the sound quality is or not. There are so many important things happening in the world. And again, it is a crucial moment to do our best to help wake up our fellow neighbors, friends, family. Sad to say, that everything I talked about on December 29th when Netanyahu came back into power in Israel, if you haven't seen my video from December 29th, 2022, I explained why there'd be a major war ritual with Israel this year. It was so destined in light of the way things are unfolding. And again, there was something very specific about this year, the transition from 2022 to 2023 in regards to the existence of Israel. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to take your calls. Just real quick, it's been a super busy week. And as a reminder, if you only listen to me on Wednesday nights on TFR, I am busy every day of the week on other social media platforms. I try to plaster all those platforms with information because they're trying to censor people like us. So I think it's important to work extra hard to minimize the impact they're trying to have. I just imagine if everybody was flooding social media with truth. Yes, they do censor and they have AIs to do it, but still, if just more people are active, the word's getting out because humanity's got to wake up. But anyway, I want to start right here. There's a lot to uncover. Joe Biden having the USS Gerald Ford sail to Israel. I mean, it's such a joke, you guys. Gerald Ford, remember, he's the same president who told us in 1989 on October 18th of that year how we would get the first female president. And he said she'd be a vice president and the old man would be a president. He would die in office. And he said that in the Herbert Hoover Library, and go figure that Kamala Harris was born on the exact same day that Herbert Hoover died. Again, just the weird rituals that are going on in this nation. Like how Joe Biden became senator-elect the year of the Yom Kippur War. And now on the anniversary pretty much of the Yom Kippur War, the 50-year anniversary, war breaking out. And just so many things to talk about, but I really think the starting point is looking ahead. With this knowledge, so often we've been able to see what's coming next. And at the beginning of this month, I pointed out how there was a news story out of Philadelphia about a journalist being murdered in his home, shot to death. People, I don't know if they found the killers, but at the time they didn't have them. They said, assassination-style killing of a journalist with the last name Kruger. And I said, we got a Friday the 13th coming up in this month, and we got a dead Kruger assassinated in his home. This journalist, pretty bizarre story. But also, it's October, Halloween, Friday the 13th. And as we pointed out, the real interesting thing about Friday the 13th this year, or this month, is that it falls on October 13th. And the original Friday the 13th superstition comes from October 13th in the year 1307, when the Knights Templar were burned at the stake. And the Knights Templar, again, the warriors of the Pope, of the Catholic Church, the Crusaders, who were the Knights of Jerusalem and the Garters of Solomon's Temple. And today, Al-Aqsa Mosque is where some people want to build the third temple, which is part of the Jewish prophecy. When the third temple comes, so will the Jewish Messiah. Again, Jews are waiting for Jesus, whereas Christians say Jesus or Christ already came. And, let's just pause before we go further with the Knights Templar thing this week. And again, one gematria thing you can try and wake your friends and family up to, and why we were sadly so confident that there'd be a major war incident this year with Israel, is because Israel transitioned from being 74 years old to 75 years old this year. The superior general, the leader of the Jesuits, is 74 right now, and the Gaza Strip is 74. And again, as we've always taught about, in the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z, the 26 are 26, all of these words equate to 74. Jewish, occult, Masonic, holiday, holy day. Here we are, a Christian English-speaking nation. Jesus equals 74, like Jewish, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Interestingly enough, like Lucifer as well. And the true name, Yeshua, does not equal 74, but all these other things equal 74. London equals 74. Remember last year on the King's 74th birthday, November 14th, 2 stories broke in the news from supposed killings the day before, but they were breaking news on the King's 74th birthday. The killing of Cavaliers at the University of Virginia, when those who fought for King Charles back in the time of the English Civil War were called Cavaliers. And then you also had the killings on King's Road at the University of Idaho. And again, the word killing is 74, like stabbing is 74, like Roman is 74, and the Ides of March on this Roman Catholic Church calendar is remember the killing of Caesar on the 74th day of the year by stabbing. And just last year, I was in Buffalo I went there after Israel's 74th birthday. Remember, on Israel's 74th birthday, you had the politically charged white supremacist shooting at the Buffalo Tops, where Hillary Clinton once cut the ribbon to open the store. But we were educating in that community what white supremacists had to do with a Buffalo top shooting in a predominantly black neighborhood that was part of this political story from a long time of what had happened to that community when Route 33 was built through there, cutting off the neighborhood from a grocery store. But on Israel's 74th birthday, again, the white supremacist shooting. And white supremacist also has that Gematria 74. And again, there's the whitewashing of history. And, they got Tupac's killer, right? And they put Tupac out on the cross after his death, on the album released after his death, shortly after. And he died on Caesar Borgia's birthday, who's where white Jesus is modeled after. And again, his last album was called Machiavelli. And The Prince, written by Machiavelli, was based on Caesar Borgia. A black Tupac is Jesus after his death on white Jesus' birthday, essentially, where the likeness of white Jesus comes from. So anyway, bringing it back here, this upcoming Friday the 13th. Now, the war in Israel just popped off with the supposed attack by Hamas on October 7th due to an Israeli intelligence failure. And it was the 22-year anniversary of the United States of America invading Afghanistan. Remember, the day we invaded Afghanistan, October 7th, the same day that this attack just happened in Israel, is the day leaving 85 days left in the year. And that matters because the word Templar equals 85. And the phrase Isus hominum salvator has gematria of 85. And again, the Jesuit order logo has the Templar cross in it with the IHS for Isus hominum salvator, which both equal 85. The Jesuits are the modern military order of the Catholic Church, carrying on the Templar tradition. So again, October 7th leaves 85 days left in the year. The date can also be written 10-7 in military's 107. And October 7th, remember what we talked about last week on this show? Last week we were dissecting the October 4th emergency alert in Russia and in the United States, and how what Reuters coded in their initial press release for the Russian emergency alert coded the date October 7th, Vladimir Putin's birthday. This was last week's TFR episode, right? So from understanding the knowledge, we knew something was up with October 7th, and we'll revisit that. But again, October 7th leaves 85 days left in the year, going back with the Templars. Now here's where it gets wild. Remember when Biden addressed the nation about Russia and Ukraine on the verge of war as Russia's troops crossed into the Ukrainian border on February 22nd, 2022? Biden went out and began his speech to the nation at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time, sharp. And again, we have all these things documented with video and picture. So if they're trying to change history, it goes on, but it was like the biggest 2 for just twos forever thing. And again, 2 can symbolize this division, like how war brings about great divisions. And if you haven't read my last book, Number Games, talk about why from 9/11 to the pandemic being declared for COVID was exactly 222 months, and all the other 222. Same thing with Russia-Ukraine. But anyhow, from Biden taking or announcing the Russia-Ukraine story on 2/22/2022 to him addressing Israel, Hamas, maybe Iran, October 10th, the day he gave the speech, exactly 85 weeks later, after this thing pops off on the day leaving 85 days left in the year. And again, all roads leading to Rome. October 7th was 71 days before the Pope's birthday. 71 days before the Pope's birthday. And also was Vladimir Putin's 71st birthday. And again, in Gematria, Catholic equals 71 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Catholic equals 145, like how there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and Israel was created on 14/5. Again, if you're new here, always talking about in the 16th century, how the Jesuit order took this Kabbalistic code that exists within Hebrew, where the world knows about it, and essentially incorporated the same thing in English. English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet, and you can see how our alphabet is synced up with the calendar, is synced up with the Pope, is synced up with these rituals all throughout history. And again, a 52-week calendar we're on, named after the Pope, in Gematria, most simple cipher. A is 1 up to Z is 26. If you count up the letters, when you get to P, the first letter in Pope, P is the 16th letter. O is the 15th. P is the 16th. E is the 5th. The letters of Pope equal 52. Again, add up Catholic, 71. On Putin's 71st birthday, war pops off 71 days before the Pope's upcoming birthday. And in case you missed last week's stream where we talked about why things seem to be pointing to October 7th, recall, Reuters published their article about Russia's emergency alert on the same day as the U.S.'s at 2:07 a.m. And they quoted a phrase, or they quoted or put parentheses around a phrase in the headline that had Gematria 207. And then we pointed out things like October 7th equaled 207. Terrorist attack. New York, New York. And several other lists. And we said, see, they're coding some kind of event, some kind of ritual around this anniversary of us going into Afghanistan. And now we have the emergency in Israel where Trump moved the capital to Jerusalem. And by the way, Jerusalem equals 104, like how we had the 10-4 emergency alert. And emergency equals 50, like America, like 50 states. And on the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, this happens. Again, Joe Biden, he just happened to be in there the whole time. Joe Biden came into office as a senator in 1973. He just happens to be in office for this 50th anniversary, this special number, In Judaism, 50, special, very special cycle. And again, numbers, so important to Judaism. The fourth book of the Old Testament called Numbers. Every verse in the Bible numbered. The original Abrahamic religion, Judaism, and then Christianity came out of it, and then Islam also connected. And again, Quran code, how it's all based on the number 19. On 9/11, they told you 19 hijackers. Lead hijacker born on the first day of the 9th month, like 1/9 in 1968. The year 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code and World Trade Center construction began. Anyhow, let's come back to this Knights Templar thing, because I want to make sure it's real clear how really old things are still going on, and you can see that they're playing out by just being aware of this occult knowledge. And remember, this is supposedly the story. The Knights Templar brought back all this ancient spiritual occult knowledge back to the Catholic Church that was accumulated in the time of the Crusades, these holy wars. So October 13th, Friday the 13th, again, when the Knights Templar were burned at the stake, where the superstition comes from, it happened in Paris, France. Remember the ISIS attack on Friday the 13th? It was November 13th in 2015. Huge ritual. We did a lot of work on that back then. And that was probably the most growth my channel had prior to Prince's death, which sadly we predicted. He said, I would die for you. With the number 4 in the letter U, use the 21st letter. Prince died on 4/21, the Queen's birthday. Rituals. But check this out. Gematria. Again, if you're new here, Gematria. Kabbalistic practice coding numbers into words. It's clearly in English in the same way it's clearly in Hebrew. And just like how in Hebrew it's synced up with the Bible, in English it's synced up with the English versions of the Bible. You can prove this through and through. New Testament equals 42, begins with the 42 generations of Jesus. Matthew equals 27, first of the 27 new books. And on and on and on. There's a gazillion more examples. Look at the Gematria of Luke and how many chapters are in Luke. It's no mistake. Anyway, Order of Solomon's Temple. That's another name for the Knights Templar. I just want to go back to the emergency alert on 10/4 that was on at 10:40 a.m. in Russia. And again, this pops off on the anniversary of us going into Afghanistan. And again, the official story is once upon a time we funded Osama bin Laden and his gang with the CIA to interfere with Russia in Afghanistan. So just this history of Russia, Cold War, Space War, all these tensions, the mega powers of the world back and forth. But Russia, U.S., Afghanistan, Israel, Abrahamic religions, division, for them to bring it back 22 years later. Again, 22 chapters in Revelation, biblical rituals, so often playing from, again, right from the verses. Case in point, this upcoming NFL week, it's week 6, and who's playing to start NFL week 6 in prime time? The pale horse team, the white horse team, just like how Revelation 6, it begins with the 4 horses of the apocalypse and begins with the white one. Denver Broncos. 104th NFL season. 10-4. Emergency alert. For the first time, all the wild card games are a sweep, so they can all end on 10-4. And look at this. Look at this. Another name for the Knights Templar is the Order of Solomon's Temple. Okay? Order of Solomon's Temple. There are 4 base ciphers in Gematria. The alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. If you take Order of Solomon's Temple and run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, it's 104. If you write out Templar and just take the alphabetic order in reverse, it's 104. A moment ago, we talked about how when you run the alphabetic order forwards, Templar is 85. Again, the new crusades in Afghanistan began October 7th, the day leaving 85 days left in the year. The new attack in the Middle East on October 7th, again, the day leaving 85 days left in the year. If you turn on cable news, there's so many voices getting on there referring to the Palestinians as less than human. And I'm hearing them called beasts and all kinds of names, and I'm sure in other parts of the world it's the exact opposite. But because they have the world divided over religion, they can play this card with a lot of people that, this is your enemy, This is who you want to go to war with. This is who's worthy of killing. And it is being manipulated in such a severe way, it's so predictable. Again, for anyone who's not seen my video from December 29, 2022, when Netanyahu came back into power, we were talking about why he came back into power on Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, the third between Zionism and Islam. And not to mention that article's dated August 15th, which is the Jesuit Order's birthday. And last year in 2022, you had the drive-by at the Western Wall, which happened on August 14th and was also big news on August 15th, the Jesuit Order's birthday. Right after the year before that, where Afghanistan's government collapsed on the Jesuit Order's birthday. Again, the Jesuits created in Paris, France, August 15th, 1534. Knights Templar killed in Paris, France. Friday the 13th, major terrorist attack, November 13th, 2015. You see how Templar is also 41, you guys? Like Skull and Bones is 41? Again, Skull and Bones, the powerful secret society out of Yale. The 41st president was a member of Skull and Bones, George H.W. Bush. If you can see the ciphers, if you run it in reverse, Skull and Bones 202. George H.W. Bush's birthday, June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year. His son, who was also in Skull and Bones and president, his birthday is 7-6. Skull and Bones also equals 76. But Yale just turned 322 years old on October 9th, which Columbus Day fell on this year. Columbus Day fell on that day. And Monday Night Football was the Raiders, Pirates, like Columbus, beating the Packers, who are named after the Indian Packing Company. Again, Columbus genocided the natives. Raiders beat the Packers year after year, documenting the same types of rituals where the native teams get slaughtered on Columbus Day. However, I think for the first time we witnessed the effects of Indigenous People Day. The Braves with a late comeback on Columbus Day. I got to admit, I was a little bit surprised by that one. We've been wondering if Indigenous Peoples Day will ever kick in on Columbus Day. It seemed too up for the Braves in the late comeback. They were down 4-0, only to win 5-4 late. Big baseball number. But it was business as usual in the NFL. And what's amazing, you guys, what is amazing is the 2 quarterbacks they had playing on Monday Night Football as wars breaking out in Israel. Again, 10-9. You see how military equals 109 when you run it in reverse? It also equals 107 when you run it forwards, like how Hamas on 10-7 attacked. And then on 10-9, symbolic game in Monday Night Football, where both quarterbacks, Jordan Love of the Packers and Jimmy Garoppolo, who's an Italian like Columbus of the Raiders, they both have the same birthday, November 2nd, 112. The Balfour Declaration of Israel, written November 2nd, 1917, 112. Remember, in Gematria, Judaism equals 112. So does Zionist. So does theater. Some of the stuff I wonder about on TV is CNN keeps going to Holly Williams for the on-the-ground coverage. She seems to be the one they have on the most in Israel these days. Holly Williams. Almost sounds like Hollywood. But these two quarterbacks with the same birthday as the Balfour Declaration. Now, here's how you can tell it's no accident. The Raiders got their 106th win over the NFC. They're from the American Football Conference. They only play the NFC so much, so they got their 106th win on Columbus Day. Notice how in Gematria, Christopher Columbus equals 106. Christopher Columbus 106. That's when you run it in reverse numerology. The name Columbus alone equals 106 when you run it with the alphabetic order. And this year, the Balfour Declaration will turn 106 years old. November 2nd, 1917. Prophecy equals 106. And what I've been arguing is that, again, these people who've helped bring about Israel, who have done it by the code, again, bringing it about on 14/5, when there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. They're following the numbers of Scripture and prophecy. It's like they're trying to make prophecy and the destruction that's foretold come into existence. I mean, it's like the way I interpret what they're doing. And leading us totally into the path, just baiting us into it all the way, and using all their technology and their, the culture they've built up over us to all their advantage, using the knowledge that they harness that we don't have. They're the people in the light, we're the ones in the dark. There's a reason they're doing all this. Again, it might seem silly to code all this out by numbers, but again, like we've paid attention for years and shown how they sync up sports and news. Remember, in Gematria, government equals 133, so does football. They both equal 133, and the NFL was born on the 133rd birthday of the Constitution. And you can go all throughout history and see how they've been syncing it up. The NFL, the planned rituals, just like how in 1968, when 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code and World Trade Center construction began in New York. And 2001 Space Odyssey came out, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones, and Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners, and Boeing's founder went to Yale and was in Skull and Bones. And on and on and on. Again, Muhammad Atta, born in 68, the lead hijacker on 9/11, so we're told. The Quran code discovered in 68 that says the whole Quran's based on 19, and then they give you 19 hijackers. Something up with the year 1919. But 1968 was the year the New York Jets won their only Super Bowl. And then after 9/11, it was 9/11 Patriot Act and the emergence of the Patriots as the greatest team ever. And then when COVID came and the country started to fall, really hard times. Tom Brady's down playing for the Skull and Cross Swords team down in Florida where Bush was on 9/11. He goes down there at age 43 when football's also 43, like Florida, like Yale. Again, American football credited Walter Camp of Yale, who went to Skull and Bones. If you're looking at the screen, you can see how Yale equals 16 on Yale's birthday, which is Monday Night Football. Yale turned 322 years old. Number 16 with the touchdown right at the start of the game, another Yale number. But hold on, I think we might be coming up on a commercial break because I can't hear the sounds. Yeah, we're on a commercial break. I'll be right back.
Flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. It may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius level mathematician, you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, well, first of all, you're a rare person. And second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the grand architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Gio. Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
Is Truth Frequency Radio.
Okay, again, we got the goofy sound problem, so there's probably music right now. For people who are listening on TFR, if I'm talking when the music's on, it sounds all wrong. So I'm going to assume it's done. Just to review, maybe I should have started here at the beginning of the show. Probably would have been a better place to start. But again, to review what we talked about last week with the emergency alert and how, again, the phone wasn't going to kill us. The concerning thing was that we're getting these types of alerts in light of the world that we're being taken into, this military police state. And it stood out to me. The Reuters article was published at 2:07 a.m. about Russia doing the emergency alert on the same day as the U.S. Posted at 2:07 a.m. And in their headline, they put parentheses around the phrase, "Attention, remain calm," which in Gematria equals 207. So does Hunt for Red October. Again, here we are in October. Big-time Hollywood movie with Alec Baldwin, Sean Connery, about the nuclear tensions between the Russia and U.S. And Alec Baldwin connected to the shooting of the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust right before Russia-Ukraine. And he portrayed Trump, who's been thought of as Messiah to some in Israel, and got that big piece of land given to him at age 74 as everything's popping off in Israel, while Gaza is 74 and the Superior General 74. And Netanyahu's going to turn 74 on the anniversary of the Alec Baldwin shooting. That's October 21st, the day leaving 71 days left in the year, just like how this popped off on Putin's 71st birthday. Let's not forget Trump became president, and he was over in Israel at the Western Wall in his 71st year of life. Talk about where that all fits in. But last week we were pointing out this 207 thing because in Gematria, other things that equal 207, like we covered, the New World Order, the number of the beast, October 7th, foreshadowing terrorist attack. All things we mentioned last week. And that's what they're saying. They're saying this is a terrorist attack. This is Israel's 9/11. Just a coincidence that comes on the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan. As we pointed out, terror and history and things repeating. New York City, New York, 207, like Statue of Liberty, which came over from France, the land of the Jesuits, who synced up the calendar and the language and who are encoding and doing these rituals. Because it's Kabbalistic. Clearly, that there's a worthiness to this system. And it's if you've never studied Hermeticism, you have to read the Hermetic text about how everything carries a vibration. If you're the master of those vibrations, you can have influence over others. It teaches you about these things, but doesn't teach you like how to have the master of vibration over, say, a number like 207. Clearly, these people, though, have a clue. There's a reason. There's a method to their madness. And like I've been teaching for a decade, you learn what they're encoding, you can get a step ahead of where they're taking us to. And we've definitely been a step ahead, just wait until we get to the Gerald Ford, the USS Gerald Ford, the 38th president being sent from the nation's capital on the 38th parallel, the number of death. It's not pretty what they're doing, you guys, and we'll review it all, but talked about where the 207 was with Trump, and all the storm is coming, the calm before the storm. So if you missed last week's episode, we were looking towards October 7th, the significance of Vladimir Putin turning 71, who's running the show, the Catholic numbers, and what do you know? You know, the biggest step yet towards World War III in terms of the narrative they've been setting us up and prepping us for our lifetimes. So again, check this out. Again, the emergency alert on 10-4, right? 10-4 means message received. The first one goes out Moscow time, 10:40 a.m. on that date, when it's the 40th minute of the day on the west coast of the United States. And if Russia and the U.S. went to war, it would be the west coast, probably be in the most trouble. I think by a long shot. But again, just to go over all these 104s, we've got to make sure we got this. Gematria, alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Templar is 104 when you run it in reverse, but 85 forwards. And again, the attack on the day leaving 85 days left in the air. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, 85 in their logo is that phrase with the Templar cross. So clearly a relationship here. And again, the Jesuits since the 16th century, like the calendar, like the language, that's how it's all synced up this way. But 104, the other name for the Templars, again, is Order of Solomon's Temple. And notice how that has the gematria of 104 as well. And again, Solomon's Temple's in Jerusalem, which is 104. Tensions there, spiritual hotspot. Because again, there's some people who think Al-Aqsa Mosque needs to be demolished so the third temple can be brought there so that the Jewish Messiah can arrive. There's people who are super into that belief. Like there's certain Christians who are super into the idea of the rapture, that Jesus is going to come down and all the saved souls, the true believers, the ones who lived righteous, they'll be raptured up. Like some people are totally into that belief. Some people in Judaism are totally into the belief that Islam has wrongfully taken the side of their temple, and it's slowing down prophecy. And again, prophecy, guys, the most simple cipher. Messiah is 74, right? Gaza is 74 years old. The Superior General is 74. Netanyahu's going to turn 74 on October 21st. And again, Netanyahu came in to power on 12/29 for the second time on Albert Pike's birthday, who again wrote the letter about 3 world wars. Albert Pike wrote the letter about 3 world wars on August 15th. His own birthday is December 29th, which is when Netanyahu came back. But he wrote the letter on August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. And the Jesuit order, the Society of Jesus 74, like Messiah, like Jewish, like gospel, like parables, right? Like killing, like cross. What's bothering me is just how blatant they do it. I mean, these talking heads that come on, a lot of them have bigger cross jewelry right now on CNN, and just saying things that are just like, God, it's just so divisive. It's like, okay, this is who you'd bring on if you just want to piss off everybody who is fundamentally religious and just get war to break out all over the place, And it's just so annoying to see how we've been baited into this thing. I've seen this coming a mile away since I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened. What will happen if the lies aren't accounted for and this media and government that's done this isn't held accountable and stopped? Where will they take us to next? And again, from studying it, we figured it out. That's why the prediction for this year with war with Israel, and here's the other piece, you guys. Philadelphia has that Gematria 223, like the synagogue of Satan. We talked about this as well. The letter to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan, those who claim to be Jews but are not. And what were we saying last year when we were predicting in the same video why there'd be war? Anthony DeVolder, who goes by the name George Santos. Again, the Catholic who claimed to be a Jew but was not. His birth name, Anthony DeVolder, equals 223. This is a joke. His name also equals 74. Anthony DeVolder, 74, like white supremacist 74. On Israel's 74th birthday, the killing in the Buffalo neighborhood blamed on a white supremacist. On Jefferson Street, nonetheless. And remember, Jefferson died on July 4th. Holiday 74, Independence Day 74. Him and Adams died on the same day, July 4th, 1826. Two of the first three presidents died on July 4th. And then Monroe would end up dying 1,826 days later on July 4th. So three of the first five presidents died on 7/4. But again, Jefferson and Adams, the ones who were worried about the Jesuits coming out of suppression. So here's the other thing to think about. 104th NFL season right now. A lot about last week what was synced up with what happened in Jerusalem. Think about how the Commanders, the Washington Commanders in the nation's capital, were renamed in February 2022, right before war broke out with Russia-Ukraine. And commanders like War, like World War, like Freemason, like Jesuit, big number there, 42. The number in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the computer that comes up with the question about that leads to the answer 42 is Deep Thought 42, Computer 42, Internet 42, big time number, Facebook since 4/2 in February. Anyway, this year, the 104th NFL season, concluding with Super Bowl 58. Now look at Jerusalem, you guys. Jerusalem in Gematria. With the 4 base ciphers, Jerusalem's 104 with the alphabetic order, 58 in reverse. In reverse, Jerusalem's 139, just like America. With the alphabetic order in numerology, America and Jerusalem are both 32. Like how the Jesuits have the 32 sun rays on the logo and share the motto Ad Merum Dei Gloriam with the Jesuits at the 32nd degree. But Jerusalem, 58 and 104, right? 58, 104. And one of the storylines right now in the world, Tupac Shakur, who was killed in Vegas, his supposed killer arrested. You know, they think they've solved the crime. But Tupac Amaru Shakur equals 58 and 104. They bring back this story at this time, and a lot of people, when they think of Tupac, the image they have in their mind is him on the cross like Jesus, because that was the big album that came out right after his death. And then also Taylor Allison Swift. All these little stories they got going that are buzzing in people's mind. Taylor Allison Swift, 104. Swift alone, 58. First time ever she's part of the NFL season narrative. You see how the word Swift is 58? Like the word end is 58? Like how the word biblical is 58? Prophecy promises a swift ending for huge percentages of the population of the world, like in the end times, in the Great Tribulation. A swift ending for many. And it's a time of war and destruction. And one of the early symbols is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Revelation. Here, let's read Revelation 6 in light of the White Horse team playing in the first game of NFL Week 6 with everything going on right now. Oh, and by the way, the NFL team that equals 74 in light of all this going down in Israel, while Gaza's 74 in the Spirit General, the team that's so hardcore with 74 is Raiders. And I always teach this. Raiders 74. They use the Raiders, again, to get, we talked about it earlier if you tuned in late, the symbolism of them winning on Columbus Day over the Packers, named after the Indian Packing Company. Raiders, invaders. Raiders, pirates. Pirates, that's part of the Templar history. After they were burned at the stake, they had to flee Europe and they became pirates. That video game company that makes the Knights Templar series, what's it called? Assassin's Creed. That same company's been putting off this game, this release date now forever, about Skull and Bones. And again, Skull and Bones are modeled after how the Templars bury their dead. That's where they get their symbolism from. And again, the skull and bones also modeled after the Illuminati founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria. There's just so many layers to unpill, but okay, this 104.58 thing, it's big with the Super Bowl. The only time the major sports leagues have been stopped in history is during the time of the World Wars. One of the famous stories from that time is how the Steelers and Eagles merged in the time of World War II and became the Steagles. Pennsylvania team, our president right now is from Pennsylvania, Slow Joe. Slow Joe. Did you hear him yesterday just slurring his words, talking about sending off the USS Gerald Ford? I was just like, you got to be kidding me, man, this mockery. Again, Gerald Ford in the Herbert Hoover Library. Herbert Hoover died the same day Kamala Harris was born, but Gerald Ford in that library said the first female president will be a vice president who takes office when the old man in office dies. Oh my God. And we'll get to the rest of how they got this. But okay, guys, Super Bowl 58 upcoming. In Gematria, Solomon's temple equals 58. That's what the Templars predicted. Herod's temple equals 58. That was the second temple. Third temple equals 58. Look into the temple that was destroyed in the year 70, because when Israel declared the war, it was 70 days. Israel declared the war on October 8th, 70 days before the Pope's birthday, when Vatican and Francis are 70. And Super Bowl 58 is on the Vatican's upcoming 95th birthday, when the Jesuits were credited to counter the 95 Theses. The upcoming Super Bowl is on the 42nd day of the year. War is 42. World War 42. You know it'd be awesome? I can't imagine them ever really attacking the Super Bowl, because it's just such a huge moneymaker and part of culture, unless, like, if we really are close to the end, that's how they're going to do it. That's the way they'd really piss off America, mess with the people at the Super Bowl. America loves football probably more than anything else, as sad as that is to say. But we should get out the knowledge. Again, people. That's why I was saying everybody should be at every stadium teaching about what they're doing, the ritualism, how you can see that it's all connected, that like how the NFL and pro sports are like a wing of government, like the secret wing of mind distraction and circus and bread and circus to keep the people content enough and in line so that they don't revolt. They got nice beer, delicious food, all kinds of little amusements to pacify them. Pro sports, spectator sports, big part of it. But all these 58s, right? And again, Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th election, who declared Jerusalem the new capital, where in Israel they put out a commemorative coin with his head on one side, and was it King Cyrus? I think it's King Cyrus on the other. But they both said that Jerusalem is the capital in history, and the purpose of buying that coin was to help raise funds for the eventual third temple to be built. The third temple to be built. They made a show in recent history that came out in March. Came out on the 64th day of the year in 2015. It came out on March 5th. Israel, of course, is 64, like the 64 spaces on the chessboard, like the Illuminati founded 64 Days Before America by Adam Weishaupt, who was Jewish and Jesuit training, raised by a Jesuit priest. But again, all these symbolic things, these important numbers, 58's huge. Again, all these things equal 58. Solomon's temple, Herod's temple, third temple, secret society, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, Jerusalem, Pope Francis. Again, the calendar is named after a pope. The word calendar itself is 58. So is Gregorian. So is zodiac. So is the word star when you run the alphabetic order forwards. And when you run it in reverse, stars is also 58. The zodiac of stars, telling time through the stars. The stars are the time clock that repeat each year. Again, the sun in the sky, what makes life possible, the Son of God. Catholic Church celebrates both their birthdays on the same day. Remember, Christmas has been celebrated on 12/25 by the Catholic Church since 320 AD. Roman Catholic Church equals 320. And when Trump declared Jerusalem the capital, it was 320 days after he became President of the United States. The word biblical is also 58. King James, he was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian, has a Bible named after him, died unexpectedly at age 58. The Jesuits tried to assassinate King James. Who do you think got him at age 58? That's how this code has been implemented. These people are nefarious and super ritualistic. But in light of biblical, Jacob becomes Israel. Israel dies at age 147. And this war pops off on the 147th day of Israel's existence since its May 14th anniversary, when it was attacked October 7th. That was the 147th day. You could also say the day they declared war, October 8th, was 147 days after May 14th. So either counting the days after or the total span of days, but that 147 applies to both. Again, the biblical number for Jacob, who dies at age 147. Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars, dated August 15th, 1871, sent to Mazzini, the second leader of the Illuminati, 71, like Catholic 71, like the Jesuit order's birthday. Like now here we are in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, and this happened, the attack 71 days before his birthday on Putin's 71st birthday, when we've been documenting all the rituals Putin's been doing with the Pope since Russia-Ukraine broke out. Albert Pike was a Freemason. Had the statue in D.C. that was torn down on June 19th, synced up with George Floyd and the staged insurrection. But the word Freemason is 147. So is conspiracy. 147 windows on the White House. President of the United States is 147, like U.S. President. Washington, D.C. named after the Mason. Modern Freemasonry, a Jesuit creation. The Jesuits in D.C. longer than the Masons and the Feds. That's why it's all synced up so perfect. You know? They sync up the system. They sync up the secret society name. Yeah, October 7th on the screen. Day leaving 85 days left in the year. Biden's 2/22 speech about Russia-Ukraine to his October 10th speech. Exactly 85 weeks later. Again, Templar. Big number with them. The show Nightfall, the lead actor Tom Cullen, he's born in 85. About how the Knights Templar, he's the actor who portrays the Templar that sleeps with the king's wife, has an affair with her, which begins the king's hatred for the Templars and their eventual burning at the stake after being accused of worshiping Baphomet. And remember, Baphomet has the same gematria as Satan, the same gematria as Catholic, the same number as Holy See, the same number as Jesuitism, the same number as Europe, and that number is 35. 35. Satan, Baphomet, Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism, Europe. They're all 35. This nation's first Catholic president, number 35. Again, you run it in reverse. Catholic, 46. JFK killed at 46. Joe Biden, the second Catholic, number 46. Inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Show came out again about blowing up the third temple called Dig by hardliner Zionists. They put out that episode, that debut of that show was March 5th, 3-5 in the year 15. The word war equals 15. The destruction on October 7th was on a date with 15 numerology. That same day, there was a deadly earthquake in Afghanistan where they first reported 15 were dead. Again, earthquake equals 107 like military. Afghanistan gets rocked on the anniversary of our invasion. As things pop off in Israel, people still aren't catching on. But yeah, this actor who stars in Nightfall, I find it funny that he's 38 years old right now. I think it matters that he's 38 because, again, Joe Biden deploying the USS Gerald Ford to Israel. Gerald Ford was the 38th president who became president in 74 when Richard Nixon stepped down. And in Gematria, Richard Nixon equals 74, and he stepped down on August 9th, which is the day leaving 144 days left in the year. The number's connected to assassination, and for Richard Nixon, some say it was character assassination. This year on August 9th, we know what happened, the presidential candidate assassination in Ecuador. And we've been talking about the assassination rituals and history of 144 all day before that happened in Ecuador. And the supposed would-be killer Joe Biden in Utah arrested that day. And Utah is a state that has Gematria 58. But anyway, Joe Biden was slurring his words as he said he would deploy the USS, or that he had deployed the USS Gerald Ford to what's going on in Israel. And we've played the clip so many times over the years. We always bring it up. Gerald Ford said in the Herbert Hoover Library we will get the first female president when an old man in office dies and the woman's the VP. And Herbert Hoover matters so much because he died in history the day that Kamala Harris was born. And keep in mind, Herbert Hoover is connected to the Great Depression as well. And, you know, the market's a house of cards and everything's up in the air. And history's, you know, being recreated. And realize it's like, when they reach technological milestones, they're ready to reset society. They're like, okay, we can run society this way now. What we've set up here, it's got all these problems. We kind of need a reset. We got to reset society. How can we do that? How about another war? Hey, war gets rid of a lot of people. That helps us with the reset. You know, all of a sudden, men aren't around the house. Women got to do the men's duties. Man, you know, culture's all mixed up. Men aren't in there. You know, they're not even taking care of their family. They're across the ocean fighting wars, but based on what they heard in the papers. This game's been just getting played with us for so long. Remember in World War I, they couldn't get Americans to volunteer to fight a war in Europe until they did what? If you guys don't know how they got Americans to fight in World War I, look it up. That's why they don't teach us about it in school. They started running in the papers that, oh my God, Kaiser Wilhelm was Satan. He was literally Satan. That's what they were running in the papers. People thought he was Satan on earth. All of a sudden, people are signing up to fight Satan. And the good, honest Christian nation who doesn't think their papers and their government would deceive them. But yeah, again, let's remember how important the numbers 74 and 38 are. Alphabetic order with numerology. Raiders, who we just talked about, are 74 and 38, just like killing. But look how energy is 74 and 38. And look how English is 74 and 38. And Gematria is 74 and 38. This nation, here, think about 9/11 and how impactful that day was. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian west. The Pentagon, where Flight 77 had its thing, was on the 38th parallel north. And notice how in Gematria, where killing is 38, when you take numerology, Pentagon is also 38. And funny enough, the big way, Pentagon is 92 like Manhattan is. So, you know, in the Manhattan Project and big bombs, but 38, as we know, death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. Kabbalah has that Gematria 38. The word Jew has that Gematria 38. This, and again, Jewish is 74. Gaza 74. Superior General 74. Netanyahu about to turn 74. Thus, he's in his 74th year of life right now, 73, like how Revelation is the 73rd book of the Catholic Bible. Gerald Ford, one more time. 38th president, took office in 74. Richard Nixon, another 74. People say Richard Nixon was an anti-Semite. Think about that now, in light of how big these jokes are. But I also don't think it's an accident that they got this actor and the way they release shows with predictive programming. It's funny, Amazon had this show on their streaming service and recently just removed it. And I told Sweet Lady, what was funny is Sweet Lady got into watching that, and she thought it was real interesting, and while she was watching it, Amazon removed it, so she didn't get to finish it. But I thought that's weird that they would remove the show about the Knights Templar right now. And next thing you know, I mean, they probably don't want people to know about October 13th, possibly because of what's about to go down this October 13th. Continuation of November 13th in Paris, France on 2015 is they get people divided up.
This is iHeartRadio.
We'll be right back.
iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio makes you want to move. When you have a great melody, a song is right.
Ever. Instantly connected.
I love it when the beat goes.
Did you know you can listen to Truth Frequency Radio on iHeartRadio? Just download the app to your smartphone or smart TV and get the best of TFR wherever you are.
Radio.
See you there.
So you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Bad things that happen to our country,
and bad things are happening to us, perhaps like never before. You'll be seeing what goes on, and perhaps like never before. Our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, shit. We failed. Shit. We failed. They made me back. They made me back. So I occasionally, that rip was long and steep. I said, General, I might have to grab you by the pussy. They made that story, but they didn't make a Biden fall, the triple fall. They call it triple fall. They're gonna fall. Dr. Fauci, who I actually got along with, he's a great promoter. Not a great doctor, but he's a hell of a promoter. Fauci said powerfully at the beginning, no masks. Then he went into masks, and then he became a radical masker. Look at the world. Look at what happened to the world. And look at the world. It's not just us. It's the world. Our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, shit. We failed. Shit. We failed. They made me back. They made me back. Zuckerberg, come into the office on those people. Congratulations, sir. You're number one. The day I was out, he became rather, well, I guess it's human nature. They let our country be run by that kind of human nature. They don't want to have that. They don't like that. They have the Biden administration seems to be putting America last. There's nobody like us. Nobody has the people that we have. Nobody has the genius that we have. Look at the world. Look at what happened to the world. And look at the world. It's not just us. It's the world. Our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, our Krypton is not very smart. Oh, shit. We failed. Shit. We failed. They made me back. They made me back.
You must unite.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Again, I cannot hear the sound, so it's hard to know if I'm talking over the music I should hear right now, but we'll just go. We got to get this information out there. We don't have time for dead silence on any end. Again, for all you guys who listen on TFR, I do broadcast on YouTube as well. You can always join our live streams and the community and chat. And recently I have gotten rid of all moderators, not because the mods are doing a bad job. It's just I want to let people just moderate their own chat. Anyone can block any troll. But yeah. Anyhow, let's get back into this. There's so many things that are important to say with Israel. Part of the reason we predicted that this would be a really, really bad year for the world and war breaking out in Israel. Again, go back and watch my hour-long video from December 29th, 2022. I laid it all out, why this would happen, that we're now living out. And a big part was Israel transitioning from age 74 to 75, which it did on May 14th. And that's because if you go back to October 6th, 1940, look it up. New York Times, New World Order pledge to Jews. Again, you can look up this article. It's a real one. I should have already had it up. But the date numerology was 75 for the article. New World Order pledged to Jews by Arthur Greenwood of the British War Cabinet, October 6, 1940. That date, 10 plus 6 plus 19 plus 40, that's one of the paths for getting the numbers of that date, adds up to 75. And in Gematria, New World Order equals 75. And Catholic Church equals 75. And funny enough, World War III, spelled World War III, you know, like Roman numerals for 3. World War III, 75. Order out of chaos, 75. The word order alone, 75, and the list goes on. If I didn't say so, Great Tribulation has the Gematria 75. And listen to the word Great Tribulation, right? It's got tri in it. It's got tri in it, 3. There's 3 Abrahamic religions. Remember, Genesis 11:9. All of the Abrahamic religions based in the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah. That's why war broke out during NFL Week 5 when the Commanders let it off. It's all biblical. It all goes back to the Old Testament. But oh shoot, my mind slipped. The 75 though. We've always talked about how, well, who pledged it to the Jews? Like, who wrote this article? So who's doing the pledging? Who's pledging the New World Order to the Jews? And like I pointed out, the New York Times has always been run by Jesuits. Again, Catholic Church 75, like who they serve. And so here we are, right? On October 7th, actually one day after the anniversary of this article. And notice it was written on 10/6. That's when the Yom Kippur War broke out in history. The word prophecy equals 106. And we talked about how the Monday Night Football game, the symbolism of the Raiders on Columbus Day, beating the team named after the Indian Packing Company, Invaders, getting their 106th win over the National Football Conference. You know, coming in and killing the Nationals. You get the joke of like how this involves, you got Europeans coming into America and killing the Nationals. You got Europeans going into Palestine and killing the Nationals, if you will, to make room for this state that's brought about all this conflict. It's like, how can we not see how we're getting played for fools all throughout history? These will create crazy wars that don't need to happen, and then they're like, and here's the next solution to bringing even more strife and hatred from this part of the world. By the way, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, the word hate equals 74. So using the hate that they've contrived between people with religion and all the other ways they get us color of skin, all the things they do to make us just hate each other for no reason. But I'm losing my train of thought again. Shoot. But yeah, this article and now these anniversaries. And the Super Bowl going to be in Vegas. And you had the Yom Kippur mass shooting there where they said 58 people were killed. And now Super Bowl 58 is going to be there. And remember, the governor of the state, his birthday was August 5th, and the shooting was 58 days from it. We talked all about it back then. Not to mention we called out that mass shooting before it happened and how to be synced with Yom Kippur, only for this now to be here with the Yom Kippur War anniversary. That goes, and realize, from when this article was written, you guys, 1940, Yom Kippur War, October 6, 1973. 33 years to the day later, you know what I mean? Like everything that went into motion in 1968, 33 years before 2001. I got to go back and look at what went down in 1990, 33 years before 2023. In 1991, 33 years before 2024. People in their little cycles and patterns. But, yeah, I used to have a nice long post breaking down Arthur Greenwood and what happened to him. Let's see what age of death Arthur Greenwood died at, if I remember right. Let me check this out. Yeah, poor Arthur Greenwood. He died at age 74. You see that? Arthur Greenwood, born in 1880, February 8th, dead June 9th, 1954. Dead at age 74. Jewish 74, killing 74, occult 74, Roman 74, small way Holy Roman Empire 74, Jesus Christ 74, George Washington 74. The George Washington tribute at the Capitol building that makes him seem like he's Jesus. Coded numbers from the authorities, total mind control, total agendas, just steering us down the road by the same old patterns. Okay. I think we hit all the... Well, here's one other thing to think about. October 13th this year, Friday the 13th, it's going to be the 716th birthday of the Knights Templar being burned at the stake. 716 years. They were born in 1307. 716 is the Buffalo area code. And remember, Buffalo's who had the racially charged white supremacist mass shooting on Israel's 74th birthday. So maybe out if you're in the Buffalo area, Buffalo's got a lot of history. Maybe it's got a Jesuit university right there. Remember the mass shooting at the Tops was 144 days from the anniversary of the death of Peter Canisius, who the Jesuit school is named after. Right after Buffalo, you had the killing of Uvalde on the 144th day of the year in another Jesuit ritual. But anyway, Buffalo, where Timothy McVeigh was from, the Oklahoma City bomber who blew up the Oklahoma City building that in Gematria equaled 144 like Jesuit order and did it on the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola becoming the first superior general. Timothy McVeigh's from Buffalo. Niagara Falls, which is used in the Prince ritual, R.I.P. Vanity and Prince. I suppose the Queen too. Died 201 days from her COVID diagnosis, like Event 201. Those 201s, they're in more places than you believe, like the Gematria, the owner of the Buffalo Bills, and also their coach, Sean McDermott. He was just playing in the UK 201 days from his birthday, getting smoked by the Jaguars. But anyway, it's a cat year. Yeah, Buffalo. Maybe Buffalo. I can't imagine that the big world event is in Buffalo, but maybe Buffalo gets some foul play that day too. Again, when they hit cities in these major rituals, they're like cities that the majority of the world knows worldwide. True Seeker from New York called today and said, Zach, they got a lot of helicopters swarming over the city today after what Adams said. Eric Adams said, look out, the terrorists could be anywhere right now. We're going back to the days after 9/11, orange alerts. It's a red alert, it's orange alert, it's yellow alert. But remember, Eric Adams is the 110th mayor. How tall were those World Trade Centers? They came down on the 11th day of the 9th month. Israel right now, they got the 11th president and the 9th prime minister right now. Star of David 119, Vatican 119, and Jewish Gematria Vatican Hill 911. Some other 716s I know. I don't normally look up the number 716, but besides it being the Buffalo area code since the 716th anniversary, Demarius Thomas equals 716. Remember, he died suspiciously at age 33. Former Broncos star. Broncos are playing Thursday night football. While that game's going on, Israel is ahead of us. Israel will be entering Friday the 13th. Revelation 6, the Pale Horse, the Broncos. First game of week 6 against the Chiefs. Been doing some big military rituals with the Chiefs. Other things that are 716, Fabian Society. That's what George Orwell was a member of. The Apprentice. How about Donald Trump? Blackouts. Janet Napolitano, 2013, leaving the Department of Homeland Security, says the next 9/11 is not if, but when. And it's the national power grid going down. Start of this year, 60 Minutes, one of their Sunday specials was about how easy it would be for some terrorists or some cyber attackers or some snipers at a few key spots to take down the national power grid. They're showing how, like, if you had a bullet attack on 6 key spots in the U.S., it could trip the whole grid. It's like, oh, thanks for laying it all out. 60 Minutes. Pinpoint. Biblical prophecy. I was just looking for 716s in the Gematria Index. Biblical prophecy 716. Revelation, the Pale Horse. I'm saying. Demarius Thomas, R.I.P. at age 33. Big Bible number. They live, we sleep. I can think of a darker complected Bible member who died at 33. How about you? They live, we sleep. The They Live motto, 716. Just wondering, could be a coincidence. London City, the banking district that does all the rituals where modern Freemasonry is created. That's interesting. London City, 716. The Prophet, the Third Temple, the Jewish Messiah coming back. Wild stuff. So, anyway, you live in a major city, major international city. They seem to like to pick on the same places. I could just really see something popping off October 13th. Could be if they did Paris again. That would just be the most blatant thing. But Eric Adams made it feel like New York, it's due. So, if you want to read these other posts on my website, so I don't want to overwhelm people's minds with numbers, but again, I got posts up on why it matters the day that Trump recognized Jerusalem as the new capital December 6, 2017. Again, 320 days after he took office. Roman Catholic Church, 320. Been celebrating Christmas since 320 AD on that day. The Western Wall shooting last year on August 14th, on the eve of the Jesuit Order's birthday. That was the day leaving 139 days left in the year. Jerusalem, America, Freemasonry, all 139. Again, you could read these posts. There's a whole lot more, but all of this has been built up to what we're now seeing take place. And pointed out how it came 84 days from the leader of Israel at the time's birthday. Now on the day this year, October 8th, the day leaving 84 days left in the year, that's the day Israel declared war. And in Gematria, 84, you think George Orwell, 1984? But remember, Zionism equals 84, Masonry 84, Jesuit 84, the Jesuit Order 84, the Catholic Church 84, United States of America 84, Superior General 84, the leader of Iran is 84 years old right now. And the leader of Iran, who's 84, his birthday is April 19th. That's the day Ignatius Loyola became the first superior general. Again, the day Oklahoma City building got blown up by Timothy McVeigh, the CIA asset. The day the American Revolutionary War began in history. He's the leader of Iran. Remind me, did we overthrow Iran in the 50s? Yes. You think we ever gave Iran back? No. Not if you have a brain. They've just kept our puppets there. They've got the whole world set up, you guys. You know? That's why, like, you look back at World War II, all the world leaders are supposed to fight with each other. They all got pictures together, too. It's like, wow, look at that. They were all able to just come in a room and have a nice photo together and pose for the photo. If only the people they ruled over could have just had such a nice time with the other countries instead of having to kill each other. Well, certain corporations became so wealthy from war, they just took over the whole damn world. And it's just gotten worse since then. But yeah, part of that story that day, a 35-year-old pregnant woman was shot. Again, 35, you guys. Special number. The eyes of God, knowing good and evil. Genesis 3:5. The word eye, 35. Again, like Catholic, like Holy See. The occult belief that the eye of God is the sun. Isus equals 35. 1225. Christmas Day, 1225 has a square root of 35. Or no. 35th triangular number. But, or no, hold on, 35, yeah, the square root of 1225 is 35. My math is getting messed up. But yeah, 1225 and 35 got the mathematical relationship. Big time number. Catholic, Holy See, Baphomet, Jesuitism, Satan. Dig about a Zionist movement that wants to blow up all Hamas to bring about the third temple. Sounds pretty evil, right? Synagogue of Satan, Satan 35. The Synagogue of Satan in the Bible. Letter written to the Church of Philadelphia. Remember we covered at the beginning of the year when Philadelphia, biblical Philadelphia, Turkey got rocked with the earthquake? While at the Grammys at the same time, they had the Satan stage, and they had Sam Smith, who's gone, you know, used to have those nice sweet songs. Now he's got some pretty, I don't know about that. That sounds like where they're trying to steer the kids the wrong way. But they got him up there with the transgender, as they, you know, they want to allocate funds, some politicians, to help your child, you know, make a life-altering change they can never go back on at a young age, where they're very impressionable and probably more prone to doing illogical things. I mean, whenever before in history has it been urged upon young people to mutilate themselves? And again, it's so obvious what's going on, you guys. It's just population control, that from all angles. Everybody stay home. We can't have everybody go out to the bar and hook it up. Stay home, stay home, stay home. Don't procreate. Use the screen in your hand and a bottle of lotion and a towel. And just all the ways they're doing it, you know. It's not cool to be with somebody in the opposite sex anymore. It's just cool to be with your own sex. That's what's hip. That's what wins the awards. That's where the glory is these days. You want to celebrate Pride Month? Join the club. Look how fun it looks. You know what I mean? That all this stuff being pushed right now. And it's being pushed by screens and technology that we've allowed into our lives. Take it away, they couldn't achieve what they're achieving at this moment. That's how it's being done. That's how you can tell it's not all organic. I mean, turn on CNN right now, you can see how not organic it is, how truly like barbaric and evil it is. Like these people who will just go on a screen and say this for a salary, and maybe they have been mind controlled into thinking what they're saying is right. Those beasts. Flatten them. Parking lot. I'm like, can you believe this guy's on TV right now? Can I get on there? God, I keep getting my channel taken down for being dangerous to society. There's people like literally, this is just like after 9/11. People on the TV screaming their head off about how it's time to just wipe out all these Muslims. Who cares if the majority are children and women who had nothing to do with anything? It's like, these people are true psychos. You know. Okay, here, let me go through some other slides. Adams getting the headlines for the lone wolves, saying the terrorists could be out there. He made these remarks on 1010, you guys, 1010 in Jewish gematria. Revelation is 1010. It's also Gavin Newsom's birthday. I said when Gavin Newsom turns 56, things are going to get scary. You know, he's got that state that's almost half the West Coast. In terms of length, it might be half the West Coast. The most open coast if there's World War. I remember when they were doing the COVID lockdown. Fox News was doing this advertisement for a video game you could download of what it would look like if Russia and China invaded the U.S. and the whole West Coast was all red and communist. And I was going, that's funny because San Francisco right in the middle is like where the big Chinatown is. They said it's the biggest Chinese population outside of China. I was like, how long is this New World Order takeover that's coming? How long has it been planned for? Again, you guys, for all you didn't take the time to read, these people of the past who clued us in, like Manly P. Hall, he said the founders of this nation, they really had an international plan. America is part of a way to create something international, a one world order based in truth, justice, and philosophy. It sounds so nice. And you know what? I wish they could have achieved it. Maybe I could go for a one world order based in truth, justice, and philosophy. If it was just that, I think I'd sign up. But we see this one world order that's coming up. It's lies, deceit, murder. Everything's opposites. It's just totally sick. So that's why I'm definitely not down for the plan that's going on. But in light of him saying this thing, about lone wolves, again, these people using Revelation as they use the Bible like a playbook, as they bring about this Armageddon, that, at least in our minds, the threat of it there that's been given to us through so many people's mouths on the TV over the years, so many movies, so many news reports. But remember, Revelation in New York, it's not a new topic. New York has that Sumerian gematria 666, the number from Revelation, number of the beast. There's a reason these things are set on the dates they are. And shout out to the gentleman who called me from New York today, who let me know that, it's just crazy. There's just helicopters just hovering over nonstop. And I said, well, that's them also showing off like the new police state, just how far along we've come in this 21st century, where there's been all this money diverted to militarizing police. Again, police look way more military than they did after 9/11. And just everyone has way more hardware. Big armored trucks, choppers, drones. Again, we allowed them to build the police state around us without questioning who's running this police state. Are they really looking out for us? Or is this just for further exploitation and domination of this populace where we are dominated? By the way, his remarks also came 39 days after his September 1st birthday. What do I always say New York is? The land of 39. The United Nations, 39 floors tall. All 4 base ciphers. Again, alphabetic order. NY is 39. Reverse alphabetic order. NYC is 39. Alphabetic order in numerology. New York is 39. Alphabetic order in reverse with numerology. New York, NY is 39. When First Take of ESPN moved to New York, they had to put up a countdown for the first time that it was 39 days until they moved to New York. And just these numbers all the time in sports and rituals. The World's Fair in New York in 39. But his scare for New York City, 39 days after his birthday. Again, he's the 110th mayor. The World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. Rockefeller equals 110. Osama bin Laden equals 110. Prophecy 110. Contriving prophecy. Genesis 11:9. The tower that divides the world. The Tower of Babel. The towers that divided the world that came down on the 11th day of the 9th month. The World Trade Centers and the biblical joke. Genesis also has that Sumerian gematria 666. But man, just Joe Biden, it's just such a contrived character. It's like almost watching a human cartoon. And it was true of that with Trump as well. Paints himself orange every day. I mean, what a joke. It's a circus. But Joe Biden with the beady eyes, doesn't he? It's just like he's just like a character. Biden with the beady eyes, slurring his words. He just deployed the USS Gerald Ford, who predicted accurately what's coming in the not-too-distant future. Remember how we said we'd have to wait till Kamala Harris was 59 for things to pop off? She's going to turn 59 the day before Netanyahu turned 74. Why did we say things would pop off when she turned 59? Because it was the 59th election, and Pope Francis equals 59, and it was synced with him, and Benedict stepped down for Francis on the 59th day of his age. And again, from the creation of modern Freemasonry to this nation's 59 years, and John F. Kennedy's 59, the last president to get assassinated. Again, from understanding all these things and how it comes together with now, we knew that when Kamala turned 59, that'd be a big deal. Not to mention 59 is like Black History Month, which ends on the 59th day of the year, and how Motown came out in 59, and seemingly Marvin Gaye knew the future too, and so did some other musicians, and words like slave, Negro, Rasta, and blues equal 59, and Ephesians 6, the verses 5 through 9 are the ones about slavery that are infamous in the Bible that make it seem that slavery's tolerated by Christianity. And I guess that kind of makes sense because the founders, a lot of them Christian, a lot of biblical influence, slavery a part of the nation. You know what I mean? So again, one more time, that 38 list. Gerald Ford, the 38th president. Pentagon equals 38. It's on the 38th parallel. Death, murder, killing, RIP 38. It's being deployed to Israel, the Jewish nation. Jew 38, like Kabbalah, like energy, like gematria, like English. We know what 38 means. I mean, when JFK died, when the TV commentator broke the news for the first time, his words were, some 38 minutes ago, the nation's president died. 38 in death. And now here goes Gerald Ford, the USS Gerald Ford. If you've never seen my work on how you replace Nixon by the numbers, it's a reminder they've been doing the same thing the whole time, and it's clearly been those damn Jesuits. Also, the 104-year-old that went skydiving, did you see she's now dead? And what did we say about this when we covered it? We said this is symbolic of the nation that's dying. And Dorothy Hoffner has the same gematria as the Jesuit order. The news was popular the day of the emergency alert. Again, to me, it was symbolic of the nation. The nation's old and dying, right? The infrastructure is way outdated. We've been told all these things for many years. In fact, since I've been in college, it's amazing how time flies by, but I mean, that's been a criticism of the U.S.'s infrastructure since I was in college, which is now, I started college in 2001, graduated in 2005, so the middle of my college days were 20 years ago. And these things have been discussed since then about just how dated the infrastructure is. And there hasn't really been any real improvements, So you can tell that they're waiting for something. It's like they're not going to rebuild something that they know only has so much time before there becomes a legitimate excuse to rebuild. Like what happens after World Wars. After World Wars, there was a lot of rebuilding. I mean, wars can just be so handy. They can be so handy. Did you see the 33-year-old man had to jump into the reflecting pool? They had to be sure to let you know he was 33. I'm sure there wasn't some kind of mind control with this ritual that just went down. Happened on Yale's 322nd birthday. Order 322 out of Yale, Skull and Bones. Bush was the president when 9/11 happened. He'd graduated from Skull and Bones 33 years before 2001. This happened on Christopher Columbus Day. And the day leaving 83 days left in the year. Brotherhood of Death, 83. Another alias for Skull and Bones. 23rd prime in 23. It reminds me of the 29-year-old woman, the twin who died years ago at the memorial. Manhattan has the gematria 29. The twins, Jessica and Jenny Santos. You probably remember this story. The woman in the red hat, they called her. She died at the memorial at age 29, falling to her death. Again, Manhattan's 29, where the World Trade Center is.
In a single minute, your body produces 120 to 180 million red blood cells. People ask Google 2.4 million questions, and 25 million Coca-Cola products are consumed. Many of those bottles will end up in a landfill, where the World Bank estimates we produce 5 million pounds of garbage. 108 human lives will be lost in this minute, and an adult male will lose 96 million cells. Fortunately, 96 million cells divide, replacing those lost. Speaking of divisions, in the USA, 1.5 people get divorced, while worldwide, 116 people will get married, 83,300 people have sex, but only 258 babies will be born. And a fetus This is developing neurons at a rate of 250,000 per minute, so it's no wonder that a computer simulation takes 60 quadrillion bytes to simulate a minute. An average of 1.38 micrometers of rainfall around the world, which is 4.7 billion bathtubs of water every minute, and with the storms comes approximately 6,000 bolts of cloud-to-ground lightning hitting the Earth. A 150-pound person expends 1.1 calories of energy per minute while sleeping, while the sun provides us with 83.33 terawatts of energy. The Earth will complete 1,800 kilometers of its 940 million around the sun, moving 1,034 times faster than a cheetah. 70,000 hours of Netflix are watched, 300 hours are uploaded to YouTube, and you can watch this video and subscribe.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extendivite with Extendivite.
For millennia, mankind has been searching for answers to the big questions, such as, where did the universe come from? Where did we come from? Why are we here? Are we alone? And just what the heck is the Sasquatch all about? I can't promise you answers, and neither can the Woo Crew, but they invite you to join them Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight in the UK, for Freaky Friday, exclusively on Truth Frequency Radio. Rituality, multiverse, quantum mechanics, the occult, and so much conspiracy analysis that it will make your mind melt. Take my word for it. Freaky Friday. It's more than a show. It's a way of life. I'm Stephen Hawking, and I am proud to be a Wookiee.
Tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, Truth Seeker. I think we are back. Hopefully I'm not talking over the sound on TFR. But today, October 11th, 2023. If you turned on the TV today, or in fact, if you've turned it on in recent days, you've heard a lot of the same. It's just like after 9/11. If you weren't alive after 9/11, they were constantly telling us about Islamic fundamentalists killing women and children and beheading people and just nonstop. And then eventually they started putting out these videos of people being beheaded that they'd show it like edited in the news, but then you could go online and everyone was sharing them and they were super viral. And again, it's just that same tactic, and you can see how effective it is because it's like gruesome to think about, and it enrages people and people who are already on the religious divide. But just how fast it happens, how fast the news media noise machine can just make it so that's all you're thinking about. Just you turn on CNN, they're killing babies, they're beheading women, they're beheading children. Next guy comes on, these people are beasts, we need to level them, it needs to be a parking lot. It's just like, this is sick. I mean, this is just so sick. And here we see how it works, right? We're saying, like, this is a synagogue, a Satan ritual. I mean, these people are evil people. And for all people who've been doubting the knowledge, I mean, again, if you've doubted the knowledge, if like you listen to my show and just like are always doubting, go back and watch my video from December 29th, 2022. I said, what's to come in 2023? It's what the video was about. And get into it right away about war. And I even make the point about how, you know, a time period to pay attention to is when Yale turns 322 years old. That was October 9th. The war breaks out October 7th, 2 days before Yale's 322nd birthday. Stuff's not an accident, you guys. Just like it's not an accident that Skull and Bones was in office again when 9/11 happened. Out of Yale. Order 322, the 322nd birthday. Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, 3 pillars, 22 paths. 3 Abrahamic religions being divided along with the rest of the world, who's all attached. Think about it. 3 pillars, 22 paths. The 22nd anniversary of us invading Afghanistan. Hebrew, there's 22 letters, the original Gematria system. But yeah, today, the day leaving 81 days left in the year, big ritual number. They're reforming their government to go to war. And President Biden, with all of his 81s, you know, saying we're going to back him up, who's been there since the Yom Kippur War happened. Something that's viral right now that I see a lot of people sharing, the word Hamas does mean violence in Hebrew. It also has other meanings, so it means more than violence. But it does have this connection with violence. And people have pointed out that the first verse in the Bible where violence is mentioned is during the story of Noah and the flood in Genesis 6:11. It says, now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. Remember, God regrets making mankind in Genesis 6:6. And 66 and 6 are numbers that have a lot to do with the human being. Man made on the 6th day. I haven't said it. I think it's the word human itself that equals 66, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it mankind? It's mankind that's 66. But anyhow, in Genesis 6:6, God regrets making man, and then in Genesis 6:11, it's explaining how he saw the world was full of violence. So I just went looking through gematria values of 611 that have to do with violence, and here's a possible list of things that could relate. Blood sacrifice happens to have gematria 611. So does the word assassination. Funny enough, so does Robert Kennedy. And he'd be the 3rd Kennedy to be assassinated if anything happened to him. We know the ritual they just did with him in L.A. where his father was assassinated, where the assassin's name equaled 263, and it happened 263 days before June 5th, 2024, the anniversary of his father being shot. Date to be written 5/6, like it'll be the 56th anniversary next year. Big number with the Jesuits. Brotherhood of Death is also 611. Alias for Skull and Bones. Nuclear strike happens to be 611. False flag attack 611. The phrase I see dead people. Huge phrase. You know, from the movie world, Hollywood, around the same time as 9/11, just like Jack Nicholson's You Can't Handle the Truth. The Patriot Act 611. And again, that act that the government can use violence and detain you if you're deemed a terrorist. They can just circumvent all your American rights. If only you're deemed as a terrorist thanks to the Patriot Act. Other interesting 611 things, just not so much violence, just stood out. Third Eye, Metatron's Cube, Bilderberg Group, Psycho, Atonement, that goes with Yom Kippur, and this is being synced up with the Yom Kippur War. Full Blood Moon, those are important to Judaism. Reformation, that's important to the Jesuit history. Truman Burbank, that's important if you've paid attention to Hollywood trying to give you a clue about what's wrong with the society we're living in. Named after the 33rd President Truman, who helped bring about the surveillance state, the CIA and all that. So yeah, that's just a buzzing thing about Hamas and violence and where it could go from here. George Santos, big update on 1010. The story had been silent for a while, but it was back big on 1010. Again, in Jewish gematria, Revelation equals 1010. In Revelation, you learn about the synagogue of Satan, which equals 223, like Philadelphia, like Anthony DeVolder's birth name. He's 35 years old right now. Satan 35, like Baphomet, like Catholic. Again, like Holy See, like Jesuitism. Again, he's the Catholic who claimed to be a Jew but was not. He's from Portugal. And big Templar history in Portugal. Movie coming out. Leave the World Behind, about the power grid going down. It's going to be released, or it's going to premiere at Mann's Chinese Theater, the Masonic Theater in Hollywood, where we were on April 21st this year, dropping the knowledge about this world and how it's being manipulated and, you know, trying to get people to wake up to where we're being taken. And anyhow, where that didn't get much attention, we know Leave the World Behind will get more. And just 6 days before Halloween will be the premiere. And then on the anniversary of the JFK assassination, it's going to come out in theaters. And then it's going to be released to everybody on Netflix on December 8th, the day after Pearl Harbor Day, the day leaving 23 days left in the year. At the end of 23, when the word end itself has Gematria 23. And there's been a lot of predictive programming for that's how it could go down for America. That could be the end of America as we know it. A national blackout, total chaos, total destruction. And welcome to what was once your favorite sitcom, The Walking Dead. Also, this came across my plate. I didn't realize that they had a George Floyd ritual in Israel as well. George Floyd's birthday is the day after Friday the 13th. Saturday, October 14th, it's the anniversary of Arturo Sosa becoming Superior General of the Jesuits. It's George Floyd's birthday. Apparently in Israel, they protested. It's funny, if you watch my video from December 29th, I also made it where George Floyd fits in, but I didn't even have this connection. But apparently a man was killed by police in Israel, Palestinian man killed by Israeli police, similar to George Floyd, 5 days after the George Floyd killing. And again, the first 5 books of the Torah, right? The Holy Bible, 201, like George Perry Floyd. And then the Albert Pike statue down 201 days before the Confederate flag flew on January 6th in the nation's capital. And again, Albert Pike's birthday, 1229, the 201st prime. Netanyahu back in office on 1229 after stepping down June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. State of Israel, 201, like the Jesuit order, like the Holy Bible, all 201s. George Floyd, massive 201 ritual. I haven't done enough research on the Ayad el-Halak death that's compared to George Floyd's, but I noticed his name in Gematria equals 225. And remember, George Floyd was killed 225 days from his birthday, and then Derek Chauvin got 22 and a half years in prison, 22.5. And also, the day after the George Floyd killing, the Catholic Church of Minnesota settled for $22.5 million for the sexual abuse of children. And then the media put out the story of Waynell Sexton, George Floyd's second grade teacher, who remembered what a sweet boy he was. And we were talking about how the Great Tribulation's 225, and Amazon had put out the movie Lockdown 2025 about the end of the world with fire raining from the sky and how a race war breaks out. Again, people just fighting over race and religion and all the things we've been programmed to hate each other over for no reason. And a lot of people don't fall for the programming, but some do. And you know what? We're seeing an interesting example in this community. You know, some people that have been hanging around who've obviously been snakes in the grass, you know, that out of nowhere, just essentially an attack on me as all these things are popping off, and they've been hanging around for a while. And somebody who's a good supporter in our community notices the people who are attacking me and coming with these crazy allegations. That group of people, he's the same color skin with them, so now he doesn't know who to believe, and I think he can honestly see. What side is right and what side is wrong, but you can see how he's torn because there's this racial connection too, and that's just part of being human, right? That's how they exploit us this way. They know they can get people to take sides based on how they look and what religion they came up with and what area or what neighborhood they're from or what part of the country they're from. They've got just people divided up in all these ways, and they know if there's ever total chaos that people will click up and essentially, you know, with the communities that are closest to them. It's like we need an intervention right now for people to see the situation we're in, how we're being manipulated, where we're being taken to, and there has to be like a code established quickly amongst humanity of like, look, we got to stop this. We got to stop fighting over all these things. People want us to fight over these things. They want to rule over us. They want to destroy us. And right now, we're right where they want them. And we're a flick of the switch away from playing it out exactly how they've planned it for us. Remember how they were going to do a Public Enemy, the album, What You Gonna Do When the Power Grid Goes Down? What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down? And that's coming out as Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther's dying. And in the Black Panther film, you know, you got the backdrop with all the Public Enemy albums set back like in the 80s, 90s. And there's the scene where it goes from that apartment with all the Public Enemy posters up to him using this technology to take down the power of the enemy. And like think about Black Lives Matter, power outage, how they have the gematria overlap, that number that they use on everything. And they've been telling us, you guys, they've set up the axis of evil. They've been introducing these stories about how it could be a Russia, North Korea cyber attack that gets us. But yeah, the Great Tribulation, this destructive time, total war and chaos. In this guy's name, Ayad el-Halak, 225, like the Great Tribulation, like how they did it with George Floyd. We've been talking about all this stuff. All this stuff's in the book I wrote, Number Games. How they've been foreshadowing this. Don't forget, Adama Traore was killed 201 weeks before George Floyd, and those two names were celebrated together in Paris, France, the home of the Jesuits. Adama Traore also killed on the 201st day of the year. It's just these rituals all over the world to provoke and divide and, you know, just keep people thinking about the same things. Today, bomb scare at Baltimore Airport. Just Baltimore again. You guys want to know how scripted the NFL is? Look at this. Mike Tomlin got his 174th win as a coach this week, and his record became 174-95. Baltimore Ravens 174, Baltimore 95. Okay? And the thing about him getting the 174th win, the day before the game was the 174th anniversary of the death of Edgar Allan Poe, who the Baltimore Ravens are named after. And he died on 10/7, which is the same day this war broke out. And Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for the Steelers, became 10-7. And remember, the Steelers are the only team that's owned by a family that's publicly Jesuit, the Rooney family. Baltimore Ravens is 174-66. Number of the Beast is 174-66. Remember, they put up the Beast statue at the United Nations sometime back, which was on the 174th day of the Jesuitic Nation year. And New World Order also has that 174. The guy used to say it all the time. H.W. Bush, he lost his wife in a 174 ritual, Barbara, before his death. Again, New World Order is also 75. Like Catholic Church, like Order Out of Chaos. Like Great Tribulation. Israel just turned 75. It was the New World Order pledged to the Jews October 6, 1940, a date with 75 numerology. This ritual, all these years later, you know, from that headline, October 6, 1940 to 2023, it's 83 years later, isn't it? 1940 to 2023. That's 83 years later. 83, the 23rd prime. Judaism's 23. We know 83 is connected to murder. The song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. Murder by Numbers has that gematria 207, the number we used to predict October 7th. Chaos after the 10-4 alert. Sergio Brown, the Indianapolis Colt, supposedly killed his mom the day the NFL season began. Today they arrest him. He wore the jersey number 38, but he's arrested today. And today, again, one day a month has the numerology of 28, 44, 64. The word kill equals 28, 44, 64. Funny enough, the word Israel equals 28, 44, 64. Today, they formed their new government for the war party. Israel did. The way they shuffle around. And just more black shaming. It's the 11th of the month. Black equals 11. Oldest Jew in the Old Testament, Methuselah with the dark skin. The whitewashing of history. The rituals. Indianapolis Colts since 84. They came from Baltimore originally. This is in the headlines as they shut down the Baltimore airport due to a bomb scare, a terrorist threat. And let's not forget in the movie The Sum of All Fears, which came out around the time of 9/11, Morgan Freeman movie. It's the football stadium in Baltimore that gets blown up. It looks like they're playing a team like the Steelers. The Steelers are in the Batman movie where the stadium blows up. And you guys, you know what? I mean, like, I never want to preach fear, but if we could get like this knowledge out there and how they're scripting this stuff out and how the threat is, I mean, there's a small threat that they could actually do something to Super Bowl 58. And here, let me make an argument through predictive programming. So the 4 base ciphers again, you guys, the 4 base ciphers. Pittsburgh has this Gematria 58. And again, they used the actual Pittsburgh Steelers football team in the Batman movie where they blow up the stadium and only Hines Ward, number 86, survives. Hines Ward finished his career with 86 touchdowns. Notice how Las Vegas equals 86. Pittsburgh equals 58. Super Bowl 58 is in Las Vegas. 86 associated with big bombs like Hiroshima. And again, the word end is 58, right? The only time the major sports leagues have stopped in U.S. history, well, there's been some strikes, but it's been mostly because of the world wars. That's where the sports had to pause for a while. So again, it's possible this Super Bowl is the end of an era. N58, and again, Jerusalem, 104 and 58. You can't spell Jerusalem without USA. Understanding that the USA is a Catholic Jesuit creation, and the same way Israel is, explains how it all comes together and why we're using the Roman Catholic Church's calendar and speaking a language credited to a Catholic monk. And for all the people who come into the chat every time and say, how come you always blame the Catholic Church and Jesuits? Again, the Jesuits are a Catholic-Jewish alliance. How come you guys come in and ask the same questions that I've written books about and answered a million times? Got to listen. Can't be a soundbite person where you only get the first 5 minutes of each video and that's all you ever listen to. That's why I always come back and ask them the same questions. Got to increase the attention span and listen to what we're putting down. Because what we're putting down is clearly important to know. And as we've been saying, is playing out sadly just like how we projected it. So, also, Brandon Malone, the father of Mike Malone, who just won the NBA Finals. His father dies at age 81, meaning he died in his 82nd year of life. And he died on the day leaving 82 days left in the year, and Loyola equals 82, and his son went to the prep Jesuit school, Loyola, in Maryland. There's Maryland again. Michael Malone loses his father in his 82nd year of life on the day leaving 82 days, when again Loyola equals 82, so does the word game, and how many games are in an NBA season? 82. Remember how the first March Madness, basketball equals 85. The first March Madness was the Jesuit school defeated by the Catholic school, Villanova. Georgetown versus Villanova. Again, so many Jesuits in high places, especially in the world of sports too. And you can see what's really going on. Basketball gets back underway with the preseason, and his dad's dead just like that. He's dead 25 days after his own birthday. 25 days after his 52nd birthday, his father's dead. The word Pope equals 25 and 52. Death equals 25, Kabbalah 52. Remember how they won the series, Denver did, 4-1 on number 41's birthday, outscoring Miami by 41 points, and their star player, Nikola Jokic, was the 41st pick of the draft. Templar equals 41 like Skull and Bones. Knights Templar also equals 173. The father died on the 173rd day of his age. And while all this stuff's popping off too, the ritualism, the way they synced up the Joker of the Nuggets with the Joker, Donald Trump, who says he's Batman, who's in court as they're filming the new Joker movie there. Been back to the Batman movie in the NFL. When the stadium blows up, they're sure to show Section 322 as it explodes. Again, Yale just turned 322. And by the way, the Raiders, you guys, what's crazy is the Raiders. Here, let me show you all this. You guys see this with your own eyes. The Georgia Guidestones, remember how they came down last year on George W. Bush's 76th birthday on 7/6, 201 days from the Pope's birthday? Again, the Georgia Guidestones, which talked about reducing the world's population to 500 million. The Raiders' record from March 22nd, 1980 through October 9th, 2023. Check this out. The Raiders got their 322nd win and stayed on 365 losses like the day in a year. The Georgia Guidestones were a calendar system synced up with the stars, but they were erected on March 22nd, 1980, right? So from that day to the Raiders win over the Packers, named after the Indian Packing Company on Columbus Day, from Georgia Guidestone's birth. And by the way, the Raiders played the Eagles that year in the Super Bowl 15, where Wars 15. But from the Raiders, those being erected right before that season to this win on Yale's birthday, their 322nd win. Think about that. Think about that. Order 322, American football credited to Walter Camp of Yale Skull and Bones. Order 322. We've been talking about the 322 rituals with the NFL for a lot of years, but how bad is this one? While all this stuff's popping off. Skull and Bones, modeled after the Knights Templar. Templars, Jerusalem. Invaders, again, just... Now, you know what else? You know what? This year, Christopher Columbus Day fell on October 9th, which is Leif Erikson Day, the Viking, you know? All of this happening at this time. Think about the odds. And again, Netanyahu about to turn 74. Dangerous. Hardliner, military Zionist. Still wants even more vengeance for 9/11 on the 74th Meridian West. His birthday, the anniversary of Alec Baldwin shooting the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust. Again, the day leaving 71 days left in the year, like how war just happened with Israel and Hamas on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday, when once upon a time Donald Trump was visiting the Pope in the very Jesuit ritual in his 71st year of life. How all these characters are connected. Okay, October 21st, 2021, Baldwin shoots the Ukrainian woman on Rust in a church shootout scene. Not a synagogue shootout scene, a church shootout scene set in the American Wild West in New Mexico, the 47th state, when Ukraine equals 47. Like government, like authority, like time, like a matter of time before. It probably is only a matter of time before we're under big red occupation out here on the West Coast. And now Russia, don't worry. Russia's going to send us a text message and say, hey, now we're in control of the emergency alerts. Just comply and we won't smoke your ass. You know what I mean? It could be like that in the future. Once upon a time, you were getting emergency alerts from your own government, but now you're in communist red land, and now Moscow's in control. You know what I mean? Could happen, man. The World War III, it's been written, it's been foretold, and none of them have touched the U.S. yet. But Fox News was nice enough to advertise the video game version of what it could look like 3 years ago. So you know the phrase nuclear football? Just with Donald Trump and him being on the shekel or the commemorative coin to build funds for the third wall, and him going over there and kissing the western wall and the west again, and the South Park episode Once Upon a Time about him and the nuclear football. How strange is it that the first use of the phrase nuclear football was right here? In his 1980 book, Breaking Cover, Bill Goley, former director of the White House Military Office, wrote, "There are 4 things in the football. The black book containing the retaliatory options, a book listing classified site locations, a manila folder with 8 or 10 pages stapled together giving a description of procedures for the emergency alert system, and a 3x5-inch card with authentication codes. The black book was about 9 by 12 inches and had 75 loose leaf pages printed in black and red. Black and red. Oh, man. The book with classified site locations was about the same size as the black book and was black. It contained information on sites around the country where the president could be taken in an emergency." So again, that was all revealed about the nuclear football in 1980. The year the Georgia Guidestones went up, that talked about reducing the Earth's population. The year that the Raiders and Eagles played. Invaders, where the Capitol was set up, you know. It's something else. It's something else. I wasn't even born yet. So frustrating to think they were already planning this crap out. Big jokes upon our head.
My name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
That's a lot of people. Thank you. It's because we got. There's something about back the country. Play it over again. Me, American. By the way, there's a word disinformation. Think of it. And by the way, this is the most corrupt election. Think of it. You know what? I am not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the one trying to save American democracy. If you say it enough and keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. But you know, they say it over and over and over. If you say it enough and keep saying it enough, they'll start to believe you. And by the way, get up. We got. There's something about back the country. Play it over again. Me, American. It's okay to get along with heads of other countries, don't you think? Trump was so friendly with Russia. Think of it. You know, they say it over and over on the fake news media. Oh, it's all for them. Media in this country is corrupt. Camera just went off. And keep saying it. They'll start to believe you. 2 cameras just went off. I think it's one of my greatest achievements. They don't like it when I do. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. And by the way, get up. We got. There's something about back the country. Play it over again. Me, American. They go and target.
Wherever you are, make it easy.
Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Okay, I'm hoping I'm not talking over the sound. Again, we have a problem because I cannot hear the audio as I'm supposed to. The way it comes over YouTube, you guys are hearing the messed up version. If you're actually on TFR, the sound is in there when you're listening to the program. I don't know why it's not making it to us. It's been this way for a while, but one day it'll get fixed, I'm sure. If total craziness doesn't break out before then. But you guys, also right now, something that I would really like to do is just hop on a plane and fly right out to New York City and then down to Washington, D.C. and, just say what needs to be said in front of people who need to hear it, especially this nation's representatives. I almost feel like maybe D.C. is the right place to be. But, again, you just have to understand it's a tough sell around here for me to travel great distances right now because all my sweet lady who can all she can point to is she doesn't like when I leave. She doesn't feel safe. She feels like something's going to happen to me. And then she's like, how can you justify it when you lost over half your support after traveling all over the last year and a half? And I tell her the same thing every time. I say, I know the support went down, but it's all kinds of reasons. It's not just that people fell off. It's, things are being tampered with. And the thing is, when we get out there, people come together and there's beautiful synergy and seeds are planted, and it just has to happen way more, even though things haven't been good. But it's just, I'm torn. Like, I feel like my responsibility to the world is to do this and get out there and plant as many seeds as possible and try and spark a change along with everybody else who can do it. But I know I'm pretty good at it, so I feel like I should be doing it. And what I was going to say is just if there's people out there who are listening, all I ever ask people to do is just get on my Patreon and pledge $1 a month. Or now I have a subscribe star. You can pledge $1 a month there. If there were enough people doing this, it'd make it easy to afford things like flying out to New York real quick. Round trip air flight ticket. Keep in mind I have to drive 3 hours each way to get to the cheaper. If I tried to fly out of the airport by me, it would probably end up costing, $1,200 to fly because it's a little airport. But if I drive 3 hours to the airport, fly both ways, right now to New York, I can get round trip for about $700 for the days ahead. And, a place to stay, it starts costing up, it starts adding up these costs. But again, if there was just a network of people pledging $1 a month, we'd have so many funds to help so many people travel and get places and network and organize and make sparks and try and wake people up. Just like how we were out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in the freezing cold rain all day, May 13, 2020, to educate about Event 201. And we did get the Cairo 7 lady out in Seattle, Deborah Horn, to come out and talk to us. But it never made it into an actual story, and I think it's just because there wasn't quite enough of us there. We got to figure out a way to get more people to come out and do what we do, but on a bigger scale. There just has to be a push right now, you guys. It's like I've been saying for all these years. There'll be a time where we look back and say, oh my God, I didn't do enough. And, you can see the writings on the wall. You can see the writings on the wall. For they set this thing off. All that stuff you learned about in the world wars, and how devastating it was, and you're lucky you weren't there. Well, you're lucky you weren't there, but you might end up in the next one. I think all you guys in the middle of the country, I think you're about just where you want to be. So I hope that's true too. But us out on the coast, we'll probably get the brunt of it, especially out here on the West Coast. I'm not running anywhere and I'm not living in fear. I'm just saying this is the world we're allowing to happen. Now, I'm mentally prepared for it because I've been thinking, where else could we be going with all these lies and war and just all the crap we put up with? But if more people can step it up and pledge $1 a month, or maybe you can afford $2 a month, or maybe even $5, and I can tell sweet lady, see, there was a big bump tonight when I said, hey, I need to get out to New York. Look at all these people that stepped up. If I can show her that by as soon as tomorrow, she might be like, okay, you had to skip 9/11 and you're mad at me for that? Okay, get back out there and wake them up to what's going on in Israel. It has to be done, you guys. We'll give the greatest presentation on the street about what's going on. We'll drop it down and make it all simple. Again, I made it too complicated for the radio night, but it's easy to make it simple in the streets. All I have to do is teach him about 74. I have such a long list with that. I just met a guy the other day, and he asked what I did, and I said, I do a few different things. I've written some books. He said, oh, really? He said, I like to read. What books have you written? I said, my books can be controversial. And I was telling him all about gematria and where it comes from Hebrew and 74 and English and everything going on in Israel right now. He was having the greatest reaction. He was like doing the mind blow thing and like just all this body language. I was like, this guy was he was loving it. But that's why we got to be out there. I'd love to go stand in front of the ADL headquarters in New York City and then go over to wherever the mayor is and then the United Nations and just a weekend of coffee and battery recharges for the speaker. And just like how we were in New York, I know I can go there and burn for 3 days and not even sleep. It needs to be 3 days like that in New York. Have some other speakers out there so I can take a few breathers, but No, we need to go out there and make a big mark right now. And then when I get back, I'll take a super long nap. But I do need people to step up and support. Otherwise, this is not going to be able to happen. And I'm not asking a lot. I'm asking you to pledge $1 a month. That adds up to $12 a year. That's 3 cents a day. Be part of something that really deserves way more funding. And I can only look back and imagine if more people gotten behind what we've been talking about all these years. We've been knowing serious things are coming. I've been laying it out. You know, they're taking us to a bad place. It's going to happen unless humanity wakes up and stops it. And for the person out there who's like, oh, it's already too late, that's just that defeatist attitude. Who knows? We might still have more time than you think. These people do move. They drop their rituals, but they move at a snail's pace. September 11th, we were in Afghanistan about a month later, October 7th. But it got a lot worse many years later. All that time, even after it started, there was time to stop it. But we allowed it to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's always the right time to step up and stop what's going on. So if you do want to support the work, I do put all the links in the description for how you can help. The Patreon, the Cash Apps, all that stuff. The PayPals, or whatever the other things are that people use. So the troll's always in the chat just writing nonsense. It's like, there weren't... I can't imagine being a human being trolling what I'm doing right now. Talk about some people who do need a bomb dropped on their head, but... let me see. We haven't taken any calls yet tonight. We're in the final hour of the show. Let's go out to New York City. Long-time caller. What's up, New York?
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's up, son? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Before I talk about Israel and the war and stuff, I gotta hit this story. The reason why I didn't talk to you, because I remember you talking about September 23rd, and then next week you didn't have no show that week. You know, on September 23rd, Eric Adams, he had a secret ceremony at Gracie Mansion for him to be a master mason on September 23rd.
Right.
Did you see that story?
Yeah, we covered it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I must have missed that. You must have did a written post on it. Did you do a written post on it? Because I looked on your blog. I might have missed that.
I did a written post, and I talked about it a little bit in one of the streams, just like how a lot of streams will go long, and I'll talk about several news stories.
Ain't it crazy how you always talk about all these officials are Masonic, and he did it on that specific date, September 23rd?
Yeah, and he did it at Gracie Mansion, which equals 223, big number this year. In Jewish Gematria Masonic is 223.
And you just talk about Eric Adams about the lone wolf thing, right?
Yep. Lone wolves has the same gematria as terrorists.
So you see how the Masonic is connected with the mayor, with New York, and with the Israel stuff. He was just over in Israel a couple of weeks ago. I want to say. No, maybe that was a couple of months. I want to say he recently made a trip to Israel. He did make a trip to Israel. I don't forgot the date, but he did make a trip to Israel. I remember. I don't know if it was maybe in August or July or something. Mayor Adams did make a trip to Israel. And he just came back from Latin America and South America with the migrants and stuff. Okay, let me get to the Israel stuff. Did you notice that Hamas is 42 and 15, and you were just talking about 15?
Right, yeah. War and Hamas are both 42 and 15, and Iran is 42. We've been talking about this for a long time.
And you know the NIGGER word is 42. Is 42 too, and that is and the Hamas is 42 and 30 in reverse reduction. So basically, you know, they got the big racial code in it too with the Hamas.
Okay.
And just like you said, the video you did last December talking about Yale turning 3-2-2, they scored going naturally with all these wars and stuff will break out during this time. And then you got the Jewish holiday of atonement coming up, right? So naturally, all this will happen during this time right now, right?
Right.
And Israel's compelling to their 9/11. What happened after 9/11? What did the Israel promise that we need to go to Iraq? Because they had the weapons of mass destruction. That was who was the prime minister of Israel after 9/11?
Ehud Barak, yeah, and exactly. And then we invade Afghanistan October 7th, and now they have the war start on the 22-year anniversary of that. It's just the mockery is obvious. So I covered all that at the beginning of the stream.
And you see all the 50s, right? We just had the 50-year hip hop, and it was the 50-year with the Yom Kippur War or something.
Right, and the word, again, I covered that. Emergency equals 50, America equals 50, right after the emergency alert, and Jerusalem's 104, like the 10-4 alert. It's just, it's so obvious.
So it is crazy how they just put all of these numbers in front of our faces, mocking us.
It's all biblical. You know what's amazing? Look at the verse Revelation 6:8, you guys, because I'm about Revelation 6 and the white and pale horse and how week 6 the Broncos are playing to start off week 6. Denver in Gematria equals 68. Revelation 6:8 says, I looked and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. It's not an accident, you guys. Again, just we know Death is 38. We've got the USS 38, the Gerald Ford going out there. It's just Joe Biden looks like he's ready to kill over. It's such a joke. But it's all biblical, you guys. We've been pointing this out in a million ways for a long, long time. So,
yeah, but I just wanted to make that point about how Hamas and war is 42 and 15, and you were talking about the 15 and the 42 and the racial coded in there. And that George Floyd story, that happened during the time when George Floyd got murdered. That story to Israel you were talking about.
Right. Yep.
Wow. Pure mockery.
Indeed.
Pure mockery. Did you talk about the Vegas and the Tupac and the Vegas stuff?
I already covered all that, man. That was all at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
This is crazy how they even connected to Vegas in that spirit. And then during the Yom Kippur, the Vegas massacre. How many people died? What, 58 people died? And it's going to be Super Bowl 58? Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
That was the number of people died in Vegas. It was 58. That was the number, right? That was there, right? 58?
Right.
In the Vegas shooting. And now they have the Super Bowl 58.
Right.
Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up, man.
Exactly. So, all right, man. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Take care. All right. Let's go out to Michigan, 810.
Hey, Zach. Thanks for coming on tonight. So at the beginning of the call, I was on the listen line, and you were talking, and Chris Geo was talking. I don't know what the heck's going on with TFR, but that dude is playing like some shows. Every time I get on, he's got a show on from like 2015 with all these people that are dead. It's really weird. I don't think. I heard you say you called them when them tranny dyke hose bags were on, and cutting into your calls that night. That played the other night early in the morning, and you said you called Chris, and has he ever called you back on that?
I don't know why he's not communicating with me. It's been a long time since he responded to me. So.
Is he alive? Who the hell's running TFR? It's weird, dude. I'm telling you. Anyway, the way I see it, this Benny Netanyahu and his Mossad and Gomorrah gang, they dressed up as their enemy and attack and had a surprise attack on themselves, right? So. Anyway, on this 10-4 thing, this emergency broadcast, I had my phone. I got a little flip phone, cell phone. I had battery pulled, and I have an identical phone like it that I haven't, there's no provider, no SIM card, and that phone I use for contacts and stuff, looking stuff up. So I had to look up a number. Somebody called me and wanted a number, and I pulled it out of that phone, and I forgot to pull the battery on it. Well, at 2:18, that sucker went off, and I'm telling you, it was so loud, it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, what the hell? I grabbed it, pulled the battery out of it, waited a half hour, I stuck the battery back in it, and it started screaming again, that emergency broadcast. I pulled it out again, another half hour went by, I put it back in, and I got a freaking text message on it, and it said, "This is a presidential alert, the emergency broadcast system, no other action is required," something like that. I don't even have a provider or a SIM card in that phone. Haven't had a phone call on it since like 2020 or 2021. So that really freaked me out. Anyway, since then, my phone that I use, the flip phone, every time I make a three-way call now, I get a third-party conference call like a party line, and I get a call from a friend. They want to talk to somebody else. I pull two people in. I can hear them clearly when I start, and as soon as I merge them, they go fuzzy on me. I can understand them, but it's fuzzy and a weird sound, both of them. But over top of them, two other people are talking, and I know it's not them. I can hear the conversation. I just can't make it out. It is so weird. And this has happened like 4 times now. And then they'll hang up, and then the call clears up. That's happened 3 times, and seems to be gone now. But that really freaked me out. I don't know what the heck, if it's them or what is going on. And I've heard a lot of people having issues with their phones now since that 10-4 broadcast.
Well, it was, all I can say about it is it was really loud, definitely really loud when it alerted. I just, just like anytime you get a text message, if you hit it, it'll stop, it'll silence. And then everything's been normal since. And I told people they were getting so worried about the actual thing, which wasn't going to do anything to you besides be annoying. And really, it's just a reminder of the flex that we have these devices on us, and now we can be given orders. And it's just like after 9/11, they were telling us red, orange, yellow alerts. Well, now we have the computer in our pocket that's going to give us the red, orange, yellow alert right away. And there'll probably be days like where the government's told you that you need to stay indoors. It's a patrol day, and if you're outside, you're in danger. And again, if you listen to last week's show, like I said, it wasn't the actual cell phone that was the thing to be scared of. It was what is coming that they're preparing us for. And like we said last week in last week's show, they were coding October 7th, which we were not wrong about. So again, I wouldn't spread so much hysteria about how messed up your phone was after, because I'm not sure that was really the case. Might have just been more in your head. And again, just spend more time talking about exactly what we're exposing tonight. Because again, friend, I appreciate that you're always calling in, but over the years, a lot of the calls have been all about politics and supporting Trump and get on this website of Trump. And it's like all the years I've been like, no, stop seeing the political system, stop believing in the false history, wake people up to the agenda, what's ruling over us and where they're taking us. And again, that's where the focus should be. The phone's not going to be used to kill you. It's going to be used to control you. But appreciate it, 810. Have a good night. Let's go out to 408. What's up, 408?
All right. Hey, Zach. So I just, at the beginning of the show, you were talking about the ongoing conflict in Israel have started on 10/7. This is the anniversary of the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan, which is the day leaving 85 days left in the year, like how Templar and Isis Hominum Salvator equal 85, which are both on the Jesuit logo. Well, IHS is on the Jesuit logo, but you get the idea. Well, on that day, 10/7, in baseball, you had the Rangers, who used to be owned by the Bush family, and Bush was president when we invaded Afghanistan. They got their 93rd win of the season by a score of 3-2. There's like 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo, and like Nazareth, God's Son, Crucifix are all 93. So that was a major ritual there. And then just yesterday, to finish off the division series, they crushed the Israeli pitcher.
Oh, the pitcher was Israeli?
Yeah, yesterday, Dean Kramer, the guy for the Orioles.
I didn't realize that he was Israeli. Wow. Huh. Okay.
Well, maybe I don't know if he was. Let me just look it up real quick.
I know
Was he actually
Kramer's a
born in
Jewish name.
Israel?
I didn't realize he was Israeli though. That's amazing.
Oh, okay. He was born in the U.S., but his parents are from Israel. It looks like, because it says on Wikipedia that he's Israeli American.
Okay. Yeah, how symbolic.
And then to add on, we now have an all Texas ALCS, and I mentioned this last week that the World Series that starts a span of 3 months and 22 days after George Bush's birthday.
Hey! Just for the fact, just for the fact of the matter, before the season began, I said in the ALCS that I like the Astros to be back in the World Series. But after I saw the way they scheduled the game one and what the score of game one was between the Rangers and Philadelphia, again, that game was 267 days after George W. Bush's birthday. I used to run the Rangers, and 267 is the Philadelphia area code, and area codes are huge in sports. I told my community, if you put one in for the Astros, I'd also hedge right now with the Rangers, because that's also very interesting. So, had you taken my advice at the beginning of the year in the American League, Rangers or Astros, along the year we hedged also with Tampa Bay based on some things they did, in Orioles. So we covered 4 different spaces in the AL, but the first 2 were Astros and Rangers, and those are the exact 2 teams in the ALCS. So, and we've been able to have really good future projections with baseball every year that we've been here, going back to the 111th World Series.
Right, and just to continue on, so George Bush was born on the 187th day of the year. His full name, George Walker Bush, is 177. Texas has been independent from Mexico for 187 years, and it's been a U.S. state for 177 years. As in 1845, funny enough, 1229, 201st prime, 1845, like how Interstate 45 connects Dallas and Houston. And obviously, Society of Jesus and the Jesuit Order equaled 187 and 77. So no surprise that this is a perfect year for an all-Texas ALCS, and the ALCS will start on October 15th, which is the day leaving 77 days left in the year, and George Bush is 77 years old right now.
Perfect. And his father was really last seen in public on the Astros field the year of the 113th World Series when they beat the Dodgers.
Right, and that, and actually, there's one thing that I've been noticing is it seems to be a connection between the numbers 52 and 56. Like you're just talking about the Astros when they won the World Series in 2017, that was their 56th season, and 52 was a big number for them that year because of the.
Remember, they got hit by a hurricane, and hurricane equals 52 and 56. So yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, I wasn't following the work then, but I know you've mentioned it a bunch of times. And also, earlier this year, up here over by Dallas, there was the shooting in Allen. That was on 5/6, which is the day leaving 239 days left in the year, which is the 52nd prime. And interestingly enough, that was a span of 175 days before the World Series starts, and City of Allen equals 175, and Rangers equals 107, just like shooting, just like Texas Mall. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think it's, as I said, it's not a surprise that it's Rangers Astros in the ALCS this year.
Yeah, indeed. Well, great research, Evan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I also plan on being out there in front of the Rangers Stadium for Game 3, which is a week from today, the 18th, Wednesday the 18th.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll do great. Keep it up, Evan.
All right.
Thanks. Personal Jesus with the sound in and out.
Number 3, life is worthwhile if you stay. You got to learn to hang in there. You got to learn to stay from spring till fall. Many people plant in the spring and leave in the summer. They're gone. First hot day. I thought sure John had lasted a month. Where is he? I don't know. Somebody said boom, and he quit. Where is he? I don't know. But see, to win, you got to learn to stay. Just because you're behind in the first quarter, you can't leave. You got to learn to stay and hang in there. Guy builds a foundation. Then he walks off, wanders away, and builds another foundation. He never stays. He puts up the walls and puts on the roof. You got to learn to stay, hang in there.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? iLife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to iLife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
We exist in the security and comfort of our worlds. Paved paths, lights, and manicured lawns give us peace of mind that our world has been tamed, and we are its master. But other worlds exist on the edge of our sight. On the edge of our awareness, the shadows move. The woods fill with the unblinking eyes of the nightmares our ancestors warned us about. Some of us have stumbled into these forgotten realms, whether on purpose or completely by surprise. I'm Brent Thomas. Join us on the Paranormal Portal Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time as we journey into the world of the paranormal phenomena.
No hate. No hype. No fear. We are Team Radio.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're taking your calls the rest of the way. We got a half hour show left, and let's go out to 530. 530, you're on.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So I wanted to start by saying, what do you think about ancient Egypt affecting the current government?
Ancient Egypt affecting the current government? I mean, well, a lot of the secret society's teachings are based on what was going on in ancient Egypt, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, they actually had a red house and a white house?
For the leaders?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I was familiar with that connection, but okay.
Yeah. If you type in ancient Egypt and Freemasonry, they equal 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And you know IHS, of course, Isu Salmanum Salvatore.
Right.
Some people also say that means Isis, Horus, and Set.
Right.
And Isis equals 56, Horus 81, Set 44.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate those observations. Thank you very much, 530. Let's go out to 708. What's going on, 708? They hung up. Let's go out to 360. 360, you're on. Yeah, it's a little hard to hear, though. It's kind of muffled.
All right, 1 second. Can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to stay on the topic about the whole Israel conflict. It seems like when you comb through the two different portions of the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, what's going on is going according to the New Testament, contrived, pre-planned agenda. Clearly, they created a state out of blood. It's the newest country to be formed. They push folks off their land. They make these things happen. They recorded this to happen in their book. It's almost like The Simpsons. It's not a prophecy. It's just a foreshadowing of the agenda. But the main thing that I wanted to call about was to point out the fact that according to the Old Testament, this has nothing to do with scriptures whatsoever. That land that was formed in the late 40s has absolutely nothing to do with the Old Testament. That is because a part of the covenant that was agreed upon between the Creator and His seed, a lot of people don't comprehend the basic context. The contract and covenant wasn't between the seed and the Creator. That's not what the covenant was for. That was already established when Abraham was chosen, a long time before this seed entered into the Holy Land that the news wants you to believe is modern day Israel. The covenant and contract was a management or an adjournment to the land of Israel, to the inherited lands. So a portion of the covenant is the blessings or the curses. The curses, which everybody can agree befell this nation, was for them to be divorced from their land, not divorced from God or anything like that. That's the mainstream religions teach it. You could easily read in like Deuteronomy 29, Deuteronomy 30, Deuteronomy 4, a bunch of places that it's an adjournment to the land. Saying all that to say this, the seed that was chosen, regardless of who the hell they are under the sun, they broke that covenant, which means they are taken off their land and their land is resting without any damn body in it. And you can read that in like Deuteronomy 29, Deuteronomy 32, and Leviticus 26 is a good place for those that are trying to read up on this. I think Jeremiah chapter 9, Zephaniah chapter 1, and for one last one real quick, Zechariah chapter 7, verse 14. Anyone could go back through and read all these Torah-based scriptures and see that a part of the punishment of the Israelites for breaking their contract is not only to be taken off their land, but for no goddamn body to be in their land, for it to be resting and enjoying a Sabbath almost. So when we see the contrived news of today, I want folks to understand, and I'm pretty sure that you probably understand this already because it's an easy concept to see with all the propaganda. The land and this contrived war has absolutely nothing to do with true biblical prophecy, with the actual land. So whenever people go in the New Testament and use things like Luke 21, Matthew 24, anything in Revelations, understand that shit holds absolutely no bearing to the truth of the actual Holy Land. If you care about the true Holy Land, go read about it in the actual Hebrew original scriptures. When you read it from the lens of some Pastor Calpurnius ass papers, they're going to show you their contrived plan. So this is a very deep subject matter. Know for a surety that no JC, or as he's commonly known, Jesus, is cracking no goddamn sky to do not shit, because first of all, he wasn't recorded in the Old Testament in the actual Hebrew scriptures, and second off, that damn land is not holy. As a matter of fact, if you look at Tel Aviv, and if you look at a certain population that does certain abominable acts, they're one of the highest.
Okay. I appreciate the call, but at the same time, I feel like your call is actually just like more kindling for the fire, right? Because people are fighting over what they believe about these stories and what the true history is. And you see people in the chat are getting irritated. They're like, that's not true, because everyone has their own beliefs and opinions. And again, I'm saying because of these stories that have been fed to us all from a young age, look how they got us all ready to just kill each other and their opinion's the most right. So it's like, to me, it's like, just see the game. See that they have these different spiritual texts and they're literally playing a game with us using the numbers from these texts. Again, it's just so obvious, guys. Jacob becomes Israel and dies at age 147. This war breaks out on Israel's 147th day of his age, when it was established by this biblical code on May 14th, as we've talked about so many times. Again, like, I don't feel like the point of debating about I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like just coming at it from that angle is only going to make people fight. So, and that's what they want. They want us all fighting over what we think is right, rather than seeing like how there's a whole bunch of human beings and they're getting ruled over by a small group of connected, very powerful people who control our media, and just that, like, that should be the message right now. Why we all need to just like drop it and stop fighting over this crap. So anyway, man, I appreciate the call.
But when you say that it's a biblical plan, I don't think that it's a true biblical plan, but
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, again, but the point is that they are using elements of prophecy to bring about this chaos. That's what they're doing. So,
all right, man, you take it easy.
All right, yeah, you too. Let's go out to Buffalo, 716. Comes the 716th.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Yeah, what's up, Buffalo?
Here.
I can hear you.
All right, yeah. Just a quick one-off observation for you. There was another shooting in Maryland at a Bowie State University. It happened like 2 days after the shooting in Morgan State University. So it might just be something you might want to look into, another predominantly black college. So, yeah, that's all I got for you, man. Just might want to look into that.
All right. I didn't know that, so I appreciate the heads up. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Right, take care. Let's go out to Texas, 281. 281?
Hello?
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 Yeah, you're wrong.
Hello, Zach. This is a kind of a different question. I don't know. I'm not trying to bring up like drama with this or anything. That's not my goal. But what do you think about like channels or like so-called like truther channels that really only go over like false flag events, like, you know, like school shootings or like police officer like shootings or whatever, like space or something like that, but never really cover like Gematria or any of the details like that. They just show like what you see on the news is bullshit and all that stuff, which like, but they don't really go over like all the numbers and coding behind it, and like who's responsible. Like, how really effective do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I guess it's better they're doing something than nothing, trying to wake people up. But yeah, it's been my frustration too that so many other people will share this information, which is super helpful. But yeah, I know what you mean. So, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, it's just asking because like, you know, I that's how I kind of got introduced into this stuff, and like I'm kind of wondering about how much like how useful is this really, like learning about info, like, you know, how this was fake and all this was fake and like how this was fake. But at the end of the day, I feel like I already know it's fake, and like it's more important to know the numbers behind this and like why this is being done. You know what I mean?
Sure. And for anybody who you want to persuade of that, just show my video from December 29th talking about war coming, and I speculate that it could be around when Yale turns 322. I mean, that's exactly how it ended up unfolding. So anyway, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, well, you guys, we've had great foresight the whole time from understanding how these numerical psychopaths work, and that's why people who don't understand it just must not have enough IQ points, not tall enough to ride the circus ride. 678, what's up? Atlanta 6.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's going on?
Not much, man. 2023, that's 322, and World War III commences. How about that? What a coincidence, right?
Say it again about the World War III part.
I said it's 2023. You know, you called it the year of the 322, and what a coincidence we get World War III beginning.
Well, not just the year of the 322, also the year of the 223, right? Because the Synagogue of Satan's 223, like Philadelphia, like Anthony DeValder, who's George Santos. So it's this big biblical play. And by the way, with regards to the biblical thing, here's a news headline that's come out. I didn't even realize this one. We were talking about October 13th, Friday the 13th, why it matters so much this year. And they're saying that they're syndicating that They're calling for an Israeli jihad on October 13th. So we'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're definitely going with the script, and it's so obvious. You got the United States. I mean, obviously, they're gonna go for Israel, right? They're gonna help Israel. And Russia's gonna help Palestine, and so it's just I don't, like you said, if humanity as a whole, decided to just come outside and just let them know that we caught on to their little bullshit, right? And we know the script, this wouldn't happen, but that's probably like 25% of the population is probably knows or have caught on to the bullshit. The other 75% is, well, I would say the next 25% is somewhat knows something is off, and then the other 50% probably is just clueless of what's going on. But everything looks like it's going according to the script, and I hope we can stop the script, but it's looking like it's going towards the big war, right? The big holy war, the big Armageddon that they want.
Yeah, that's where they've been taking us. So anyhow, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Let's go out to Sun City 951.
Zach,
Yeah.
what if you made books for children, like children books with how would you say that? Like Washington, like with the pillars and the windows and stuff, just like something real simple, like an illustration and just a one sentence, like 144 windows. You know what I mean? And it's probably like 10 pages.
I've been thinking about doing that with illustrations. I've been meaning to do that. Just like a children's Gematria version of history, it'd actually be better for the adults. They'd be able to actually absorb it. Some pictures in there and just one sentence at a time. Secretly, all the adults will be buying the book. They're like, I can understand it on this level. One sentence.
Well, yeah, you can throw some math in there, like two towers and zero, but it's like kind of, but you get my idea.
I do. I've been thinking about doing things just like that. Why the nation's birthday is 7/4, the picture book. Well, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I also thought, instead of, pounding pavement, or I guess not instead, but what if there is a possible way of doing interviews with, let's say, the Buffalo shooter, or,
How do I get to interview him? How do I get to interview him? I wrote letters years ago to the Colorado prison where that Chris Watts supposedly was, or wherever the prison they had him at, and they just stopped following up. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to interview Chris Watts. So
yeah.
I don't know if it's possible.
Well, I would imagine it'd be kind of hard, but it's like that's the thing. If you'd be the one person to if anybody to get some kind of insight of who sent you type situation, and
well, by the way, when we were at Buffalo, we got the one man who became part of the median story, a guy that they interviewed, and he was telling us, because we were there multiple times, he said that kid did not just show up like how they said way before. He was there the day before, and he said the day before he was with two adults, and he even talked to him that day because they looked like they were from out of place. So, there was a guy there letting you know that the official story was not the same as what he witnessed that happened. And yeah, it would be nice if you could actually talk to the kid and see if he can share anything, or who knows what's going on with him. He could be some little MK Ultra CIA project.
Even, the thing with P&B Rock, they supposedly caught those people, and I'm sure they have booking numbers. So it's like, how hard could they be to reach and just, ask why,
Yeah.
What made you do it? Who made you do it? And
right.
Everybody care about that. That's hip hop related. So just kind of I don't know.
Okay.
Switch it up, or
Well, I think they're great ideas. I've been meaning to achieve them, and you remind me to get them done. So thank you, caller. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a good night. All right, let's go out to 708 Illinois.
Hey, Zach. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing all right.
Yeah, I'm just calling in to, like, let you know about some important information in case you don't know. I don't know if you've been noticing, like, the 113s that's been popping up a lot lately.
Yeah, that's one of their numbers.
Right. I mean, I've heard you talk about in the videos, but, like, I've been noticing, like, some coming up, like, for example, artificial intelligence is 113.
Right.
Okay. Right. There's been a lot of that going on lately. Low key, the government is doing a mind control experiment on several people, several governments, secret agencies all over the world. Mind control experiment equals 113. There's a community of people called targeted individuals. That's what they're referred to. They're all mind control experiments. Now, targeted individuals equals 301 in the same cipher as mind control experiment. Now, in the cipher that mind control experiment equals 113, targeted individual equals 86, like sacrifice, like Las Vegas, where the Super Bowl is going to be this year, like St. Francis of Assisi equals in that same cipher, 86. So that's why I also think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to win it this year. And San Francisco 49er actually equals 113. And you know how, like, the 104 has been popping up, like Taylor Swift's full name, how media has been focusing on her a lot, and the 104th season. Debo, like Debo Samuel, Debo equals 104. And, of course, because of the 86 in Las Vegas and St. Francis of Assisi. And, you know, I noticed something on the Raiders and, no, actually not the Raiders, the 49ers and Cowboys game on Sunday night. Did you see that play where they just all of a sudden start referencing Kobe after number 54 got an interception? And you know how Kobe Bean Bryant equals 54, and he died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. And the 49ers went on to win that Super Bowl.
Well, I know they were referencing Kobe when Mason Jordan scored a touchdown as well, scoring the 41st points of the game. Like Kobe Bryant, 41, dead at 41. And we were talking about how with the Jordan tribute to start the week, and then Kobe's teams playing each other, it was obvious something was up. Again, the Rams coach got his 41st loss against Kobe's Eagles. So
exactly. Yeah, that Jordan Mason play, that happened right after number 54 got the interception. And, you know, he was just talking about, like, Kobe, he was just bringing up, like, Mamba mentality, that narrative, you know? And then right after Jordan Mason went on to score.
I see.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Yeah, like, and then there's the other interception. Well, there was three, you know, but I believe the second one, I think there were, yeah. Well, I'm thinking of the Raiders thing. They had three, but yeah, I'm thinking of the other game. My bad. But yeah, the 49ers interception, they had number 48, and they said, oh yeah, the former Packer. You know, it was the night before the Packers played the Raiders, and he got the interception. You know, he wears number 48 like Illuminati Eagles, and then they went on to play California Love by Tupac. You know, the Tupac thing, you know, with, you know, talking about the guy who murdered him this year just happens to come up 27 years after his death. And it happened in Las Vegas where the Super Bowl is this year, and the numbers to 104 and 58 and Tupac Amaru Shakur.
Right.
They,
yeah, we covered all that at the beginning of the stream. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. Hey, I want to let a couple more people get in before we're out of show, but thank you for the support and bringing up the 113 thing, because, yeah, it's a number that people have to know in this study. It's a number of deception, and it's used a lot. And coronavirus pandemic's 113, and what day was it declared? And, I mean, you know what I mean? So, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely, brother. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Take care. I meant to say, you guys, I was talking about all the 35 stuff with the Templars and how they were burned for Baphomet. I forgot to mention that Gaza in Gematria equals 35, and Hamas is 35 years old right now. They'll turn 36 in December. But also the attack in Gaza or on Israel was 35 days before the Superior General's birthday. Again, Gaza 35, Catholic 35, Holy See 35, Europe 35, Jesuitism 35, I 35, the eye of the world on Israel. Back here at the 9/11 memorial, the Oculus, which relates to I. You got the guy that nearly fell down the chute where the towers once were. And again, we're in Afghanistan after that. And then Israel has this tragedy on the anniversary of the invasion of Afghanistan. And Afghanistan's rocked by a deadly earthquake the same day. And again, all the things just playing out that we've been trying to wake the people of the world up to. So, again, you guys, we're almost out of show. Thank you to everyone who's always supported the work, whether that's just sharing the videos or hitting the like or leaving a comment. That's a great way to support the work. Thank you to everyone who's supported financially. I know it's tough times. Really regret not getting out to New York this past year for the 9/11 anniversary. But I mean, we put out tons of content. It's not like we haven't been working. It's just, it's so powerful when you're out on the streets engaging with people and getting them to stop and listen. And we got to figure out how to get a lot better at it and get bigger numbers and create like a real meaningful spark. I mean, there's still time to create a meaningful spark. If humanity cannot, you guys, you can see where we're being driven to. And that's why I've always told people with the false optimism, you got to chill with that false optimism. There's no signs that anything's getting more positive right now. Just that these people are achieving their agenda, and it can get very deadly and ugly for a lot of people in the world. And it's been an ugly, deadly place for a lot of people in the world for a long time because of this rulership, but it's spreading. All the people who've stood by idly, it's now coming to them. You know, it's that you reap what you sow. The chicken's coming home to roost. All that. And we need to do something about it. You know, you don't want to go out like a punk. You don't want to think like, oh my God, I never thought it would get this bad. Now I regret that I never tried to do anything about it. Let's go out to our friend in New York to close us out. It's the man that actually knew Bob Marley. Kind of laid it all out for us in records decades ago. How you doing tonight?
Okay. What's up, man?
Yeah, you get the closing word tonight. What do you think about what's going on in the world?
Yeah. You know, y'all said it, you know? Y'all said it before, long before this happened, you know what I'm saying? But just have people crazy and don't want to believe the truth, you know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So that's what it is, you know? Some of them not going to wake up until this full night, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, just try to keep on pushing, man.
Will do. Got to push a lot harder because things are getting a lot more accelerated. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope it's not your city they pick on again for Friday the 13th. I hope they leave New York alone.
Oh, I'm figuring that. I'm thinking about that too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see it coming, you know?
Right.
Just have a picture and get out of the way, you know what I'm saying?
Indeed. All right, friend. Well, we are out of show. Thank you for always supporting us each week, and I look forward to the next time we meet. So hopefully I'll be out there sooner than later.
Yeah. Okay, all
right. Take care. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, that's the end of the show, everybody. Sorry to the calls I did not get to. Shout out to Mr. Scott, who comes in with the super chat at the end. Let me say thank you to all the super chatters. Congrats to the winners. Let us know about the ritual with LeBron and Dion. I'll look more into that. Thank you. Congrats to the winners. Eloy Garcia. He said, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, and sadly, I think that some people are just too indoctrinated to a change. Thanks, Zach. I know what you mean, Eloy, and it's sad to watch all this go down. Paula the Kitchen Witch gave a super sticker. Appreciate that, Paula. Jashawn.
Censorship and regulation has become.
Let me tune that out. Okay. Came through nice and clear once my show was over. Anyway, Jashawn. They have more massive psyops coming in the next month. Israel is a distraction. I agree. It won't just be Israel. They got to get the whole world involved, and they'll be blaming it on jihad across the earth. You know, it'll be everything we've seen and more. The dates that stand out: Friday the 13th for the Templars. There's a lot of dates that stand out, but also November 2nd, the 106th birthday of the Balfour Declaration. I think November 2nd. Let me see what day of the week November 2nd is. Let me check that out real quick. I have a feeling November 2nd is going to be another day that they got big fireworks. 22 days from today. It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday, too. I got to see who they got going in the NFL on November 22nd, the way they've been syncing sports up. Let me see what's going on. November 2nd, the Jesuit Steelers hosting the Titans. Think more about that one. Tennessee. That's interesting because Tennessee has the gematria of 106, like prophecy, and it's going to be the 106th birthday of the Balfour Declaration. And again, this week, Monday Night Football, synced up with what's going on. Both quarterbacks born on 11-2. Again, the Raiders got the 106th win over the NFC. Columbus 106. Christopher Columbus 106. Jimmy Garoppolo, the winning quarterback, an Italian like Columbus. It's, gotta think more about that one. Okay, but Jashawn with another big one said, watch out for 11/9. That's a good date. The anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Star of David 119, like Vatican, like Francis. Reminds me of Notre Dame burning in Paris, France, 119 days from the Pope's birthday once upon a time, because Notre Dame was built in part by the Knights Templar, and the Templars also, Al-Aqsa Mosque is the old Solomon's Temple. That year it got attacked on Tisha B'Av to remember the destruction of the temples with Israeli police and tear gas. So yeah, November 9th, definitely a day to think about. Another big symbolic date with the numbers. That'll be the Thursday after November 2nd. What's going on November 9th? Carolina Black Panthers at the Chicago Bears. Russia the Bear. The Bears the big win over the Commanders. As a new war pops off on Putin's birthday as Dick Buttkiss dies. His name brought up last year with the DeMar Hamlin thing since he was connected to the death of Chuck Hughes on the football field. You guys didn't hear it? Dick Buttkiss, number 51, died 51 weeks after the last meeting of the Commanders and the Bears. Dick Buttkiss in Jewish gematria equals 628. The Bears stayed on 628 losses the day he died as a franchise. Richard Buttkiss equals 787. They picked up their 787th franchise win the day of his death. How synced up the sports are. Dick Buttkiss. It just has this weird, like, Catholic abusive vibration in it, doesn't it? And then what unfolded in Israel in the days after. Thanks again, John Mendoza. JM says instead of calling the Palestinians wild beasts, they might as well call them Goyim. Yeah, exactly, JM. It's sad. It's sad. All this religious superiority. J.K. Garland said, just happy to support the work. I've learned so much from you. Thank you, J.K. Garland. Mr. Scott, $10, says, I always appreciate your work. If it wasn't for you, I would still be stuck in a religious cycle feeling guilty for not doing something at church. I appreciate the donation again, Mr. Scott, longtime donor. And thank you for listening all these years. And shout out to 13 Serpents, who's become a very generous donor in recent times as well. Thank you. Yeah, again, somehow, some way, if there's more people out there who can support the work, who can get back on that, pledging $1 a month on Patreon. Lost about 3,000 people doing that. over the course of the last year and a half of traveling. And, 3,000 less people pledging $1 a month is a lot less resources. Not that we ever had enough, but it's just, again, there should be tons of resources behind what we're trying to do. And again, thank everyone who can support it. If it can jump back up in, the next 24, 48 hours, I would like to get out to New York ASAP. The only way I'm going to sell that to Sweet Lady is, again, being able to say, see, the support, they're there. They want to see me do this. Maybe you guys don't, maybe and if not, I'll keep working. I'll just do it from here. But I like getting out and traveling and pounding pavement and, seeing how people respond in the flesh. Again, and hopefully planting the seeds to get more people to do it. I just wish people were doing it all over, every major city, gathering, the truth seekers, getting out, spreading the word, waking people up, what's going on, If you can, just make a video pointing back to what I said December 29, 2020. Or not 2020, 2022. The day Netanyahu came back. I laid it all out. Why the war is coming in 2023, Shout out to Mr. Scott again. He says, Zach, I also think it's a reason they want the U.S. military to become downsized and continue to push the agenda, nobody joining for a reason. Consider the whole West Coast, the one that's probably going to get the worst of it. All the governors out here have taken away essentially the Second Amendment, a weapon that could actually defend yourself with. So it's like the West Coast is getting riper by the day for invasion. You remember when we were in New York, what we captured the day of 9/11 last year? The police came out and set up the barricades so that our group could not go on the grounds. They blocked us off. And then while that was going on, a bunch of Orthodox Jews came in and started posing with the cops, almost using them like human props and then posing by their police vehicles. It was like, what is going on? So we can't come on there because we're talking about the lies of 9/11. But while you guys are out here making this show of force so that we can't cross this boundary because they put up a row of policemen and, it wasn't there. But when we came, then they set all this up before we could go on. It was like, wow, look at that. The police they don't want us to come on the grounds. But then, if you guys have not seen that, watch that live stream because you'll see the Orthodox they pile in there and they start using it like some kind of scene and they're taking photos. And it's like, this is so weird right now. So... Here, you know what? I want to tell you guys one more thing. I'm going to close out the stream with this. So, here. Prohibition ended in what year, you guys? You know what year it was, right? 1933, okay? Alcohol in gematria equals 33 like sugar, and alcohol is made from sugar, part of the process. And a lot of people are addicted to these things, and they're destructive to your health. Some more so than others. Alcohol, both things have destroyed a lot of people's lives, both sugar and alcohol, both with the 33 gematria. Just like us humans, that 33 number resonates with us. 33 bones in the human vertebrae. People in person, 33. Rolling Rock, the beer, with all the 33 stuff on their can. But I've been thinking a lot lately about talking about alcohol and how it's been so bad for society. It's destroyed so many lives, so many households, and so have other drugs that have been put on society by a code. Alcohol is absolutely a drug. And again, there's a time and place for it. If you can handle it responsibly, it can make things a lot of fun. You can have, some great memories with it. But again, a lot of really bad stuff has happened due to the intoxication of alcohol. And I've talked about how my dad, he comes from a family of alcoholics, and he's the one guy who made it because he was able to avoid alcohol, unlike his brothers and his mother. And one of his brothers, who's the most severe alcoholic, nobody's been able to get a hold of him for a long time, and we wonder what happened. He's in Portland where things are crazy, but we were trying to find him, and just nowhere to be seen. We don't know if he's alive, and if he's not alive, I guarantee you it's because of alcohol. But I saw RPM Trey Vietnam. He did a video this morning talking about how alcohol destroyed his family, so he stayed away from it his whole life, and now he's in his 40s, and he'll still never touch it because he's seen how destructive it can be. Well, Monday I got a call from somebody who's been in the community for a while, and they came into the community through sports decoding, and I'm not going to tell who their name is. I'm going to keep their story private. Maybe one day they'll call in and share more about it. But I hadn't talked to him for a while. I probably hadn't talked to him for over a year. He used to call all the time for sports decodes. And he said, you know, Zach, this last year has been so crazy for me, and I'm calling to share this thing with you because, you know, I learned this knowledge from you to take advantage of sports, but I really feel like the knowledge has been so much more important now because it just had an impact that probably changed the outcome of my life and something I was about to do. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I had this tragedy happen earlier this year. My youngest child was killed by her grandmother. And the mother was there watching when it happened. And I said, I'm sorry that happened to you. And he said, yeah, and right now I have to go into court here pretty soon in the coming days because the state is pushing for the execution of the grandmother and the mother. And he said, what do you think about that? I said, well, I said, you know, I don't think it would be right to execute them. It's not going to bring back your daughter, and it's probably just going to cause more stress and grief and regret. But I said, what happened? How did she murder your daughter, and now the state's trying to execute her? He said, well, what happened was, you know, the grandmother drinks and she leaves her bottle all over the house. And one day the 4-year-old was curious, and he said it's funny how it happened right after she turned 4. Because he knows about the work, 4 and death. But the little 4-year-old tried to sip some of the hard alcohol from grandmother's bottle, and grandmother caught her. And for punishment, grandmother poured her a big glass of alcohol and made her drink it all down. And then the little kid passed out, and then the body failed from alcohol failure. And the grandma was trying to punish her so she would understand not to drink alcohol again, but didn't realize that her little child body could not handle what she poured for her for the punishment. And she killed her granddaughter essentially by accident. So here's what he said changed his life. He said when he got the call, because he said his baby mama and his grandmother, they just lived down the block and around the corner. He said it's a short walk from where he lives, but they had a restraining order against him. You know, just again, the world we live in now, just all this strife and, you know, the state provides all these ways to get involved in your life, and next thing you know, the state's raising your child, and a parent can't even be around, and hardly any parents are around because they're working their slave jobs. But he said what happened was he found out what had just happened, and he went storming out of the house, and he felt like he was about to kill, you know, the adults who were responsible for the death of his daughter. But he said what happened was when he was storming out of the house on the way over to where this happened, to his daughter, a car just drives by, first car to come by, and he just sees it right there. He sees the license plate number. And the first 3 numbers and the license plate were his daughter's birthday. And it just tripped him out. And it made him stop right there what he was doing and what he intended to do. And he said somehow it just brought he felt terrible, but like a kind of a peace over him for the moment. Like, oh my God, this is some sign like from my daughter. The spiritual world that I need to chill. And this probably isn't the right thing. And he said, Zach, had I not been studying like numbers and what you're saying about organic side and this Kabbalah and God created the world, he said I probably would never even noticed or thought about that. I would just marched over there and do what I was going to do. Again, you guys, that's why I always try to be real honest about the work and share the organic side, because there is a reason they do this. And there is a reason that Kabbalistic belief came. And that's what that meant for him in that moment, seeing that car drive by. First 3 digits, his daughter's birthday. And then if you didn't hear it, the same that happened to him. He called to share that story with me this past Monday. You know, and he said it's been on him and it's been weighing on him. The death happened back in April. But he called me this Monday to tell me that story, and I haven't talked to him for probably at least a year. But he said it's just weighing on his mind because he's got to go to court. And he said, yeah, he thinks that's what he's going to say, that he doesn't want the state to kill the grandmother or anything. They're probably going to spend life in prison. I mean, it's bad enough, but he's like, yeah, I mean, it's just going to bring more death and killing. I said, exactly. I said, and the thing I said to him, too, is I said, honestly, I think if they were white, I don't think the state would be pushing for execution. I think that's also a part of the inherent racism of the state and the way the justice system is, as sick as that is. So I said, I think that's also a part of the reason to advocate that they're not executed. And, you know, the same day he called me about that, that was the day that my mom was witnessing a carjacking of a young Asian couple from Nepal who had just bought a RAV4. And my mom called to tell me about that yesterday, Tuesday, and it blew my mind because just 2 days earlier, Sweet Lady helped her family finance a RAV4 so that they can drive Uber Lyft in the city they live in to make money. And I was like, that's so weird. Sweet Lady does a nice thing for her family who are Asian immigrants. And then this happens in front of my mom right after. The same vehicle. Nepal's not far from Burma, where Sweet Lady's family from. And then earlier this year, Sweet Lady got her mom her first ever phone. And like 2 days later, my mom had her phone eaten by my sister's dog. And my sister's dog had never attacked anyone's phone before. And again, I pay for my mom's phone bill. And I had to replace her phone when it got damaged. So I was like, that's weird. Sweet Lady's doing something for her mom, getting her first phone ever. And then my mom, whose phone I've taken care of since forever, I've never had to replace it other than like when it was expired and it was time for a new phone, which actually we just recently done for her. She didn't replace her phone in forever, and then it got eaten shortly after. And remember last year around this time, Sweet Lady got hit by a woman named Donna, who also crashed not only into Sweet Lady, but a woman named Jennifer. And again, my mom's name is Donna, and my sister's name's Jennifer, and none of them get along. And it's just all these weird synchronicities in this world. And again, it's like Creator communicating and speaking to us and trying to show us that we're not doing something right, or we need to work on that, or we need to stop that right now, or, oh yeah, that is what you should be pursuing. I mean, that's the value of knowledge. It doesn't just help you see through the way we're being manipulated. It's like, it's actually helping us understand this world and our place in it. And that there is some force, some energy, something spiritual. Some of you guys leave comments, no, I think it's like a computer simulation. I think all you guys who think it's like more of like a simulation rather than some kind of like spiritual energy and force, I just feel like that's more of a generational thing and growing up in like this very atheistic computer screen controlled world. So now like that is your world understanding, so that we have to be a computer simulation too. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that we're a computer simulation. I know a lot of you guys subscribe to that. Think what you want to think, but I mean, we're flesh and blood. Here I am communicating through the computer, right? We can tell the difference between the computer and us. At least so it seems. But, yeah, alcohol. You know, all the regrets I have in life, almost every regret I have in life, alcohol's a part of it. And that's why I don't drink that much, hardly ever. So, I just know sometimes alcohol can be real bad for me too. Thank you, David, who chipped in $2, or Davin. Sorry if I said that wrong. Are you going to do another vid with Chris Singleton? You know, I would love to do another video with Chris Singleton. Remember Chris Singleton, I taught about the 74 code. If people don't remember who Chris Singleton was, I met him in Buffalo. His mother was killed in the Charleston church shooting blamed on Dylan Stormroof, which was another massive 74 ritual. And he confronted me on the streets of Buffalo when I was teaching about 74 and Israel's birthday. I had a group of people in front of me listening, and he came up from behind. He was dressed all nice. He got to go on the news because he's part of that legacy. But he interrupted me and stopped me and said this sounded like conspiracy nonsense. And if you guys forget, I had him on a couple times, and I was asking him questions and trying to teach him. And later, after he was on, he reached out to me and offered to pay me money to take down the videos. And I didn't want any of his money. But I said since it bothered him so much, I would take down the videos, so I did. And I've tried to reach out to him since then. He's never gotten back to me. And again, the thing about Chris Singleton is he got a huge, massive, multi-million-dollar settlement for his mom's death. And now he goes and he speaks, and he does do news stories every time there's something like the Charleston shooting. He has a lot of news interviews. That's why he was in Buffalo after the white supremacist shooting. But yeah, you know, he doesn't talk to me anymore. And the thing is like, I felt like when we interviewed him, you could see that he was entertaining the ideas but didn't want to accept it. And then the other thing I was pointing out is, again, he got millions of dollars out of this. He now lives in a giant mansion. And again, money controls people. So he might have been told that do not do any more interviews with that person. And the funny thing is, who knows? That day I could have tested him because he goes, "Tell me your price to take down the videos. I want the videos down." I said, "I don't want any of your money." I wonder what I would have said if I would have said, "Give me $100,000." I would have been like, "Okay, done." In hindsight, I almost feel like I should have tried it because it's hard to get people to pledge $1. But anyway, I didn't feel right about taking money, and yeah, that's why the videos just went down. So sure, somebody has them archived somewhere. They might still be on Odyssey if they're anywhere. That might have been the one place I forgot to take them down, or maybe I did. So anyway. And shout out to Nathan as well. Nathan says, "Keep it up, Zach, and real ones. Cheers from Ohio." Appreciate it, Nathan. And of course, Nathan was out there in Buffalo with us. Not sure he was there, though, the day Chris Singleton came up. But yeah, again, you guys, thank you to everyone who supports the work. And if somewhere an outpouring of support can come for the Patreon or Subscribe Store or Cash Apps or Venmos or PayPal, if I can just show Sweet Lady that people heard the message tonight, I can probably get her on board with a quick trip to New York in this crucial moment where, again, we're doing everything in our power to try and create a spark. So I think part of the problem is there's just so many people in this community who watch for either entertainment or information, but at the end of the day just don't feel that anything can really be done, so they don't really try to do anything. And if that's you, I'd encourage you to change your mindset. Otherwise, you're going to be right. It's going to be self-fulfilling prophecy that nothing can be done, and it's going to get bad and worse, and we're going to watch it happen, and we're going to regret it more and more. So, all right, True Seeker. Links in the description to help. Top pin comment to help. Thank you to everyone who does. And until next time.